is no limit to my strength. Let's go!
Hello and welcome in, Pred Obsessors, to the PCC NA Summer Preliminary Stage. Today, we're going to be pitting the best of the best from the Predecessor North American scene against each other. Who do you think is going to rise to the top and claim their part of the 10K prize pool? Well, you're going to have to stay tuned here all weekend, as we will be with you today and tomorrow right here on the Predecessor Twitch account. I am your host for the day, cooler than a cryosysm, Lance Cecil, but I am not alone. I got my man, slicker than an ice core and Talon. Ego, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. The competition within Predecessor has been hotter than that primordial blaze. I'm very happy to be a part of this big step for the competitive scene.
Hey, and we're so glad you're here. And we also got F6 with us, looking better than jumping over a Decker stun feels. How are you, F6?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm super excited. PCC, we're back. We're ready. Summer event is going to be here finally. We've been waiting so long for this, and I can't wait to dive into all the details.
Oh, I am so ready as well, and there's so many big things to look forward to and to be prepared for. Today, we are going to be running you through our winner's side of this bracket. It is a single elimination best of one for the first two rounds, then getting into those best of three series. Today, like I said, we're going to be focusing in on the winner side. Tomorrow, we're going to have a little bit more lengthy of a day as we cover that loser's bracket portion of the day. So make sure you're tuned in at the same time tomorrow, same place as well. But Ego, we are just about to kick off the summer series for PCC with the NA side of it. What's got you the most excited?
I'm going to be honest, man. I'm just excited to be able to watch some of my favorite teams perform here within the best of one format. It's no secret that you're a bit of a Professors fan. I'm really looking forward personally to seeing Mythic perform, especially with some of the adjustments they've made to their roster for this event.
Oh, man. I understand you're worried about the kind of excited for those top teams that we know about. But for me, I'm looking for those upsets, baby. We're in the best of ones, like Lance said, within those first two rounds. I'm looking for one of these new upcoming teams to really try to outshine one of these top dogs that we know today. And that's really going to shake things up all over this bracket.
Ooh, and that is my favorite part of the early stage best of ones, right? Anybody can win a single game. In a best of three, best of five, normally that team with the more experience, the more pedigree, the better players is going to rise to the top. But here early, you just never know. You might just lose a draft. You might just have one thing go wrong. One person gets a quadra kill super early in the game and they just snowball out of control. But that's kind of the magic of it, and that's also why we're doing double elimination, right? So anybody that loses in these preliminary stages, their day is not over. They go down to that loser side of the bracket. They have to fight through that gauntlet, have their back up against the wall, where if they lose a game or a series in that loser's bracket, then they would be eliminated. Ego, we have some pretty good matchups early. Is there anything in particular that you're like kind of looking for what we should be seeing, who you're like see on a collision course with each other?
Oh man, I'm very much so looking forward to the Professors matchup I think we're going to be having secondarily, but I'm really interested in seeing what goes on in P's and B's. As you know, PCC biggest event within Predecessor, and after 1.6 implementing a bunch of the augmentations, I'm personally excited to see how these players are trying to play around some of these extremely potent characters for their drafts.
I mean, that's going to be a huge part of it. We know the game actually starts as soon as the draft screen is up. But, I mean, really the matchup I'm looking forward to is going to be the first one because like you talked about earlier, we're just excited to be here, right? I'm excited to see that first matchup, seeing how all the scrims went, seeing where all these players have developed into into their teams, and seeing how they're able to unfold here on the biggest stage of Predecessor.
Right, and we do not have a visual graphic for our bracket, but we do have you covered in the Twitch chat. Use that command !bracket to get a link to our website where you can follow all of the action that will be updated as rounds complete. So some teams may have finished before all of it is done. We will put it in at the very end when the last game from each round finishes. Our amazing admin team and Stranger will be updating that for you guys, so keep yourself tuned into that. Also, while we are plugging, make sure that you are following us on all of our socials. You can find us on X at PredPCC. You can find our Discord with !Discord in the, actually probably not because we're on a different channel now. I forgot about that. But you can find our Discord by just asking somebody, because everybody in the Predecessor scene is basically in that Discord at this point. And Ego, the feeling, we have been gone for a while. Anybody that is a big Pred esports fan has been following PCC through our last 10 events. Now that we have gone with Ometa, there was a big break all of the way down from PCCX in, I believe that was January, till now it is June. How does it feel to be back, my man?
Oh man, it's the best feeling ever, right? I am a esports fanatic. All the teams have been scrimming to get to this point. I think I've watched, if not all, most of them. Being able to see these players who have poured their hearts into getting better at this game and developing this community's esports, it's exciting. But for me personally, as a viewer, as a caster, it's even more exciting to be able to watch it on the big day. So personally, man, I'm just thrilled to be here, and I'm excited for every single one of the games we got lined up.
Just living in the moment. I mean, like you said, we've seen so many scrims. We've practiced just by casting throughout there, doing our own work on the back end here at PCC. But man, it's just always about this live moment. You get to see everything unfold. You get to see the teams kind of get into a little bit of a different rhythm. Because it's one thing to practice, but it's on game day. You show up, you're here, you're fighting for that prize, you're fighting for that number one seed, and you're just all in it to win it. I'm really excited to see the showcase of these teams. Like you said, first 2 rounds, best of ones, anything kind of goes. There can be a big upset. But once you get into those best of 3s later on and from round 2 up, instead of starting at round 3, I mean, that's where you start to see where those scrims start to play into session. That's where the picks and bans start to be a little bit more important. You're kind of feeling out your opponent. Like, yeah, you might be able to take one game from me, but there's such a thing that exists called a reverse sweep, and you should be able to fear that.
Right, and speaking of first games and best of ones, I think it's about time we start focusing in on our first matchup of the PCC Summer Prelims, as we have got Pay Your Taxes going up against Gambit as we slide in to the picks and bans. Eagle, what are we expecting to see early?
I'm going to be honest, I'm expecting to see some pretty standard bans based on the meta developed post 1.6. We're likely not going to be able to see Greystone. Yuri more than likely is going to be seeing a ban here. One that I think may get banned, though, is going to be Iggy and Scorch. As you know, that first torrent is so incredibly potent, and a lot of teams just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some very highlighted real characters, but we do see the Aurora coming out with the first ban here. I mean, she is still one of those top dogs. She has a lot of CC in her kit. She has a great set of augmentations that kind of allows for her to control objectives, and that's probably one of her biggest assets, and that right there warrants a ban in my opinion.
And we see the Sparrow getting knocked off by Team Gambit as well. Expect a decent amount of that. Sparrow has really rose up in the power. We will see now if Pay Your Taxes decides to continue to attack that team fight side of the draft with their bans, or if they decide to go another route.
And it's going to be the Rampage ban. We have seen this character since 1.6 with the Tiny Titan augmentation become like a pseudo-assassin for a couple brief moments. And as such, I'm not super surprised to see him go through the bans. As you pointed out, Sparrow, with her ult basically turning her into a mage for a brief period. It also makes a lot of sense for this ban to go through. Just seems like a couple quality picks as the Iggy's going to round out the first round.
They still have a lot up on the board. With their Sparrow being out there, that's going to be a huge advantage towards that pickup in the ADC role. If they're able to get the Revenant, because they did not get rid of the Revenant on that other side as well, that's going to be a big pickup. Sparrow is that big counter to that Revenant to at least try and get the same amount of DPS out there. But I mean, I respect the Iggy ban. Those 4 turrets are very oppressive right now. Allows for a lot of objective control, like we were talking about with that Aurora. You don't want that on the enemy team. We're going to see the Countess being picked up first here. She is also nothing to shy away from when it comes into that damage department.
Nothing to shy away from for sure, but I am a little surprised, like you said, F6, to not see the Revenant picked up early within this. Maybe they think it's going to fall a little bit further through the draft. We'll get the Sevarog and the Bellica as an answer.
I really do like this Sev and Bellica pickup. You know, you have some solid utility coming out of the Seismic Assault as well as that Subjugate. A very good frontliner who's going to be able to scale throughout the game here on the Sev. He seems like a generically safe pick, but as you said, Lance, I'm really surprised that Revenant has fallen so far within the draft, and I'm kind of almost expecting to see PYT pick it up soon.
Yeah, man. I'm like you said, all three of us a little bit excited here. But what I'm not surprised is about that Greystone. Greystone's in a great spot right now, especially with the augmentations to kind of revise that Stoneforge Soul, give him a little bit more AoE with it, a little bit more damage, and he's just an absolute nuisance right now. He's in a great spot and something to watch out for. So I'm definitely surprised here to see is that Decker being picked up within that third pick. Still surprised here that we're not being able to see somebody maybe a little bit stronger, maybe in that 80 role, maybe a Skylar to really pick up some real big damage. But it's going to be on the side of the Gambit that notice that they need that more DPS to be picked into there, and that Skylar is going to be picked up on their side.
Skylar, great pick into Decker as well. The ability to, fly over the cage, harder to hit the stun ball while she's up in the air as well. And now the Revenant ban will come through. So 2 ADCs banned and an ADC picked already for Gambit.
I really do like this ban, right? You know that you're not going to be playing. You might as well take it away from the opposing team, although they didn't put a lot of prio on it. To be able to round it out, though, it is now going to be the Kwong ban, someone who has been extremely potent within this meta. Great frontline are going to be doing a ton of damage if you build them correctly. It's just an overall safe ban on both sides.
Safe ban indeed, but right now Gambit looks like they're taking control over this draft. So far, they're definitely in my favor of feeling like the ones they're picking up here, being a little bit more secure on what they want to get. And that is what I was going to bring up next, is the Seraph is still on the board. Jungler role needs to be filled. She is somebody that is right now probably up there with Revenant and how much kind of useful and utility that she's able to bring to the fight, especially with her Ascension, be able to drop back on down there and just create that stun, create a lot of menace with that Ashbringer item as well in there with the cooldowns. Man, this is going to be a spicy one on their side.
Ooh, and we're going to follow it up with the Drongus and the Short Man for the mid lane. How does that round out the comp, Ego?
I mean, I like it to a degree. I like the Argus objective pressure that he's going to be able to bring when he hits level 9 and gets that particle shredder online. The safety of the shrapnel cannon in combination with just the silence that Jungle has is solid, especially if you can combo it out with the Decker. But all in all, I think this is a very safe-ish comp. You do have some dive potential coming out of the Greystone and Countess, but it really does depend on how they are able to pilot. But Gambit is going to round out theirs with an extremely potent Morn pick.
Yeah, Gambit right now, I think they just been I don't know how they're able to get this draft. I mean, Morn, Seraph into that Sephiroth and Skylar. My goodness, Gambit has been doing their homework. Like you pointed out, Ego, on the side of the pay your taxes, they do have some strong pickups, but right now, over the side of Soul Gambit, for me, they're going to have those S tier pickups. Morn, a lot of CC in his kit. Also with his Twilight, able to kind of just blind everybody, being able to spread that as well with the augment there. It's kind of looking like a real powerhouse of a draft here on the side of Soul Gambit for me here, Lance.
Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Gambit quite a bit. I'm going to give you guys one opportunity. I need one sentence from each of you. I would like Ego to tell me why he thinks Gambit has the advantage here. I'd like F6 to tell me why pay your taxes does.
Oh man, I'm so happy you gave me the easy one. Right now, Morn as well as Seraph are so extremely potent to the meta. As F6 brought up earlier, F6 with the Ash value, this Seraph is going to be so incredibly oppressive, and the disengages that you would normally have on some of these characters, you just basically don't. So yeah, I think Gambit has the easier to utilize draft, but also one that is just incredibly good as the meta stands.
All right, F6, one sentence.
One sentence. Shrapnel cannon is going to be very useful against that Seraph when she dives on in. If he's able to go to that augment, going to be on a low cooldown. Decker should be able to utilize that cage and should be able to help out.
All right, close enough. I am so ready for the first game of the day. We're going to fly all the way across the Atlantic. We're going to kick it over to TJ and Tang.
Thank you so much, Lance. Welcome, everyone, to the first game of the PCC NA preliminaries. It's TJ here, Tang alongside me, the TNT cast, to open here on the official main channel. One event, it's been a while since the PCC last round of events. So good to be back, man, Tang. I can't wait to get things started here.
I think we have such a good game, first game as well. I think our desk was highlighting a lot of strong points of both of these teams. We went through the draft, but also in terms of like the power level, I think every win counts in a Double Elim tournament like we have today. And with two teams that have seen some moderate success in PCCs beforehand, and now they're on the biggest stage to date, right? We're on the Predecessor game channel. The stakes are really high, the prize pool 10K, and both of these teams are gonna show us today what they're made of.
It almost feels like a bit of a new dawn, a new day, shall we say, because with Pay Your Taxes and Gambit, you know, they have played under different team names. I know the Pay Your Taxes team have got players who have played under Jumping Jacks, Midnight Anthem, Burger Flip in previous events. Gambit used to be called Space Cadets as well, so maybe it's a time for them to turn over a new leaf as well. So much looked forward to, and here in the first round of the PCC NA preliminaries as well, you need to get off to a fantastic start. Every win counts, and we are going to start and throw it down to the Sanctuary map as well. So much looks forward to here. We got new overlays, we got new graphics, and if this doesn't get you hyped, I do not know what will. The turrets loading up onto the map. We are here. Let's first game begin.
Oh, this is so high. Big shout outs,
So
of course.
cool.
Big shout outs to Joyce. Like, this guy is doing wonders in the back end, as the rest of the PCC crew is doing, of course. Now, in the Sanctuary, both of these teams are going to show us what they've scrimmed for. I think we went through their games beforehand a tiny bit, TJ. We've seen that neither one of these teams have been slouches in preparation. We heard it on the desk beforehand. 1.6, one of the biggest patches to date. Adding those augments, adding a whole different dimension in how you can utilize your hero. This is going to be a treat to watch.
So many different ways to customize your play style. I mean, we had a little bit of a sneak peek towards some of the augment choices as well going into this one, as we're just waiting for the players on the junk pads going for their traditional jungle starts as well here. With augment choices, I know I want to maybe talk about this Rongo, because the Des were mentioning about how much value this shrapnel cannon could get. It's actually the heal on the gag grenade as well. So that's a bit of a one that came out of left field for me, Tang.
Oh, I mean, definitely. On the left-hand side, we are going to see the sort of silencing grenade also heal up. Meanwhile, the Decker has the double jump augment, so that grants a bit of movement speed to whoever is close by. So I'm thinking, just looking at the augment choice, I think for our side of Pay Your Taxes, I think the dual lane is more going to be a supportive sort of kind, at least looking at the choice, right? Meanwhile, on the other side, we have the Spider-Mon and Pacifist with that extended range after utilizing that air mobility.
And I think that could really play out here as well, especially with the Pay Your Taxes squad. You know, if you have as a more supporty duo lane, you're allowing your other lanes to get ahead, looking towards this Argus, the Greystone, the Countess as well. When they dive, Pacifist, honestly, that air assault cooldown is got to be monitored very close by the Pay Your Taxes squad, at least here. So lots to look forward to on the left-hand side, but yeah, very, very dominating top sides of the map. Talk about mid-jungle and the solo lane matchups, Tang. So much here to digest as we're only 2.5 minutes in.
I think another interesting part is going to be those jungle matchups. I think Seraph and Greystone are going to be very hotly contested picks over the course of this tournament. With Seraph going through, with Greystone making it through, it's going to be a pleasure to watch them. Both can be flexed into the offlane as well. B-Craze picking up that Ascend augment, granting that stun onto hitting any enemies. And with sort of the leash he got at the beginning, helping out with the 3 camp, he has a bit of an early advantage over the Greystone. Is a camp up already on the reset. And now it's going to be Seraph's time to find any of these ganks, as Greystone really wants to deny the river buff, but it's just not fast enough.
No, that's going to go into the pocket of AGT as well. I'm going to be feeling pretty happy about that one, but still sneaking around though behind that shadow curtain. Go for the jump. The Dread Nova does connect as well. A bit of damage coming down. I have to be careful. Blink will be expended though. Counter gang coming in from B. Craze slams down. Does hit that stun as well. Heaven's Fury just gets a little bit more of the shred of that damage. Seismic Assault does not connect onto the priority target, but we were so engrossed in the mid lane, we didn't see the right-hand side. Looks like it was a solo bolo kill for first blood going to Pay Your Taxes.
Count is not even losing any HP, and that is one of the strengths of having the counters in the offlane. Also, obviously, the augment helps as well, granting that health regen, granting that mana regen after he gets a frag, so not going for that sort of extra damage in isolation on that Blade Siphon. Instead, it's gonna be more of the sustain, more of the team fighting build, still getting the first blood onto Seeknix on that Sevrok. It's gonna feel fantastic for our side on Dusk.
got to be such a huge momentum play as well. I mean, we were saying on the desk, we were saying this before the cast, how important that first win there is. Force going to get that steal though. The Craze looking to crash down. Another gang. Heaven's Fury is channeling with the plasma grenade on top. Aerial assault. Pacifist does not live up to his name. Going to get a kill and take down Big Z 1-1 as the Gambit squad even things up.
You may have the gold buff, but we will have your life in return. Decker gets traded out there for the gold buff. Honestly, not really worth, but at the end of the day, first blood already secured on the other side of the map, and not sort of the worst case scenario. So Seraph again utilizing a bit of time on the left hand side, stopping sort of the jungle play style that she wants to go for. So in the end, for neither team really the worst outcome, but I think the offlane is where we gotta keep our focus. Seeknix level down, but the B-Craze on the rotation, only level 4 though.
Going for the play there, Seeknix with that phantom glide forwards, but fortunately he beat Solace. A little bit too tricksy for you, able to use that Shadow Slip to reposition and get away. Gank does not matter much on the right-hand side, but look at the response towards the left-hand side. If your jungler shows right, we're going to make the play left. Team Jungler is here as the Pay Your Tax is going to start up that Fangtooth. I don't think Gambit can do anything about this.
Yeah, Team Jungle definitely not living up to his name right now. Really good response. Sees the Seraph on the right side, immediately transitions that into that first early objective of the game. Spawns at 5 minutes, at 5 minute 30, already been claimed by our side on Dusks. Pay your taxes, also secure the Fang Chief while you are at it. Can't even be traded out for the mini prime that has yet to spawn mid lane. Once more, Argus being forced to flash away. No mana, no hope to survive the gank without having to give up that 5 minute cooldown.
And I gotta say, I do like the Respect Flash utilized there as well. No level 6 available for B-Craze as well. He has been going for these ganks. He's not really spent much time in his jungle. And of course, with the neutral also going the opposite direction as well. A little bit of a slower start. Really getting a sense, though, Tang, for both of these teams. They're finding success either side on the left and right side. Mid lane seems to be still a little bit of a deadlock right now, but probably need to wait to see how the rotations and how this as we start to transition in towards the early mid game at the 10-minute marks, how that is going to play out.
It's going to be interesting for sure. I think both of these mid laners, they want to play close range, especially the Bellica with that auto attack augment really thrives in being in Argus's face. Argus also not necessarily having the longest range with 2 of his 3 basic abilities. So that is going to be an interesting matchup. I think it's very heavily depending on the jungler intervention so far, and we've seen that as well, right? Greystone coming mid lane, Bellica has to flash. Seraph coming mid lane, Argus has to flash. Now, Bellica's blink is going to be up first. That might be the timing that we see out of Gambit, where they can utilize that advantage, potentially look for a frag in the mid lane.
AGT just kind of hovering around the river. Recall was channeled by Insing Jungler, so there's not going to be any play towards the mid lane as well. Just going to collect their river buff. 7 minutes past. Mini Prime going to be on the map as well on the right-hand side. Insing Jungler over towards the right-hand side. Seeknix, though, really not having a good time in this lane. Tries to drop down, but it is yet another solo kill going for Beast Solus, and that's going to cause problems because immediately Pay Your Taxes over towards that Mini Prime.
So the hope is that the Sephira can scale into the late game, but honestly counter scales just as well and has a stronger early game at the back end of it as well. Mini Prime is just an afterthought. That one should be claimed with no contest. Seraph in the vicinity is not going to make it in time though. Decker rotation also in the mid lane. Everybody's rocking up so far.
Everyone is rocking up as the 8 minutes mark here. Been a relatively slower paced game. Probably is what we were expecting, Tang. I mean, this is me trying to cast a curse right now because the Stasis Bomb connects. There's a lockdown. There's the CC. AGT has got absolutely nowhere to go. It's a big collapse from Pay Your Taxes. Mid laner down for Gambits. They have freedom to move around the map with that pick.
I love this so much, TJ. It was legit 3 seconds off the blink timer. Bellica could not respond because it was perfectly timed. This play into the mid lane is exactly what we are expecting when we're watching the PCC. Just the highest level of gameplay that we have in the Predecessor scene, and just phenomenally punished, right? The Decker stun from long range. This is exactly how this Pay Your Taxes squad wants to utilize those heroes. The Spider-Man trying to come to the rescue with those Bramble Patches, not able to make it in time. Another easy pickup now for Pay Your Taxes, and slowly but surely with those objectives falling into their hands, with those picks being gained by them as well, you gotta think for Gambit, they need to find a pressure point that they can actually utilize.
3 seconds. That is immeasurably tilting, even just hearing about that. I mean, I'll be spamming that blink button, but seeing it's just got 3 seconds left. But hey, you know, this is a team that's been putting up so much practice in the build-up here. It does not surprise me that they seem to be firing on all cylinders for now. 1 kill to 3 in their favor. The right lane going pretty well. Be Solace with that mini prime buff. Seeknix, unfortunately, Buddy saw that one. Colossal blow. Not going to find the mark. Be Crazy is over here. I just don't think they can do anything, though, with this Countess right now.
Countess also having the blink up again, so she is just so elusive with the Shadow Slip. Bellica mid lane has the blink up, might be forced to use it once more. Schwimmerty with that Annihilator as well, trying to get some more damage onto the Bellica, but once again, cooldowns forced on that right-hand side.
And then AGT has literally just had that blink back off as well. Already punished, and now we could probably expect another gank going their way, but we have another rotation of neutrals. The Fangtooth spawn at the 10-minute mark. Into jungle going to start this one up, but the Gambit squad are here. As jungle goes forward, immediately dives on towards the backline. Pacifist in towards the area of assault. Stoneforge Soul does a fair amount of damage at the moment. This is a 1 versus 3 for now. Into jungle is trying to fight. There's the rest of the Pale Tactics team looking to reconnect. Into jungle just buys his time, dives onto the blinkless Bellica, and will get the kill. Regroups with the team. Ether Crystal Drain overthrow down 4. Hits 2 with a nice double mesmerized. Speed Craze trying to turn the ties of this fight and will get the kill. And looking for the reset, but the Stay Bomb connects. Another Heaven's Fury. B Craze is so low. Pacifist tagged back in. Crash down again. Stun lands, but B Craze, that's a one-way journey. 2 for 2 as Gambit look to fight back and get another one. And Tandro, the last one to drop. It's the first team fighting win for your side on Dawn as Pacifist gets the double kill.
It's so important making sure that this Fangtooth is not going over to our side on Pay Your Taxes. Inting Jungle, though, is gonna try his best to catch the rest of the squad on the retreat. Counters as well. Feast is gonna be secured. It's only gonna be the Morn running away even further as Inting Jungle is not letting up, taking away the blue buff, getting the frag onto the ADC. This is now completely staggered, and then 10 seconds until she respawns. Meanwhile, the rest of Pay Your Taxes already on the way back.
They just go straight back to the objective. It's just a very slight distraction as well. But honestly, Be Solace just going with the rotation, unlocking that right-hand side of the map to allow all 5 members to be here for the Fangtooth drop. Pay Your Taxes secure their second as well. Gambit unable to contest that one. And for the Pay Your Taxes squad, things going from good to better to even better than that. Everything seems to be going their way. Gambit did have that slight team fight win, but Pay Your Taxes are just finding economic victories here with the objective play.
Yeah, definitely looks that way. Severog on the right-hand side got a few platings, so even though the kill, so we're even at the end of the fight, at least a few platings go over to Severog at a really opportune timing as well, because at 12 minutes, that's the timing where those platings fall. So if the Severog is able to push in a wave at around 11:30, right, that is the maximum amount of damage he can do to the turret, while also gaining that extra gold from those platings. A lot of things to keep in mind if you play Predecessor. On the left-hand side, the gold buff secured.
Thank you very
says,
much.
thank you so much. Easy gold buff.
Cheers for the leash. Just little things like that as well. So just to try and keep you going. As you can see, the current gold lead at the moment, CS lead, is in favor of Gambit for now, but he currently sits about 2k in deficit. That'll be the 2 Fangtooths and the Mini Prime going away of the Pay Your Taxes squad. So they're not completely out of this right now, but the way that Pay Your Taxes are playing right now, leveraging their advantages, haven't quite opened up the game just yet.
Not yet, but also we had a quick look at the tab screen and we saw about a 2k gold lead for the Counters over the Severog. I think that is going to be the biggest problem and also potentially the biggest opportunity for our team on Gambit, because if they can get the shutdown onto the Counters, if they can make sure that their tank is well fed on that left-hand side, they might still be able to play this. But once more, Counters first move towards that Mini Prime, all 4 members already in the pit, and the Counters also close by.
As it's just in the mid lane, it can simply tag them in as the Mini Prime is going to drop. B-Craze looking to start the fight though. Bit of a split though as Into Juggle does one backline. B-Craze goes into the other, looking to scatter. B-Craze wants to reset, wants to use that Heaven's Fury, but he just simply gets ran down, nowhere to go. And B-Craze is down. Sonatic Obliterator hits the first shot, looking for the first and the second slow. Not going to find the exit frag. It's only the Gambit jungler drops, but yet another neutral goes into the hand of Pay Your Taxes.
Gotta must say, TJ, it feels like Gambit, they're sweating a bit, because when you're making a play on the left-hand side, if you say, okay, we're gonna cross-map sort of the mini-prime, we're gonna get this tier 1 onto our Sevarog, make sure that he is all stacked up as the big Reaper of Swords, then at least don't fight the mini-prime. Give it over. It's a 4 versus 5. You're not gonna win this, especially in a deficit. So they just lose in the mini-prime pit for no real reason. Greystone in the mid lane, just being a bit of a nuisance. Has that augment with that extra damage in his ultimate. It just does not matter as he gets picked up by the Seraph.
He channeled that inside of the tower. He was tanking the shots the entire time. That's something that Gambit could look to rally behind as well, as they will find a play on the right-hand side. It's only Big Z, but 7 kills to 8. Gambit just find 3 kills. They've also picked up Tanjiro as well off camera. Pacifist might just be the shining light that Gambit need right now.
I think it might just be me. If I criticize them, maybe they just play like demons instead. They get 3 picks, only traded for 1. It was definitely due. The caster curse, it just never disappoints. Once more, it's going to be Gambit though. Getting back a bit of gold, getting those shutdowns is important. As we said beforehand, counters is going to be the main target though. That bounty has not been claimed quite yet. It's going to be important to claim it. Next Fangtooth is going to be around soon. That is going to be the 3 Fangtooth point. Mid lane though, Big C is looking for the Bellica.
Good sidestep from AGT, but he takes 1. He's going to take 2. Body blocking 4. Can't stop the 3rd one from connecting. This will not be a killing blow for now, but AGT forced on a reset. And look at the in-game timer. The next Fangtooth is moments away, and the entire of the Sanctuary map knows this as well. All 10 players start to converge. Might be our first big 5 versus 5 fight.
We have so many blinks, so many ultimates up as well.
It's gonna move forward. Only hitting that subjugate on towards Big Z. Simply repositions B-Craze points here. Gambit have control over the opening of the pit. Pale Taxes will have to fight the way for it though, but Gambit not too sure to whether or not they want to start this objective or look to bait it. Pale Taxes not going to take it for now. Phoenix moving forward. Subjugate is going to connect though, as B-Craze will pull back Big Z. At least able to get away. Goes into the Ascend, looks to crash down, but just repositioning there. Gambit can't find a clean engage.
Ascend, also like the ultimate used out of the Seraph. That is so much less damage potential now in the teamfight unless she gets the reset. Pacifist gets engaged on Thor in the front line.
Blake's coming out, aerial assault utilized as well. B-Craze goes straight into the backline as Incy Jungler channels that Stone Forge Soul. Seeknix and B-Craze, what can you do as Incy Jungler jumps back, resets Beast. Because the raid boss is here. Beast Solace is here. Eyes only on the Sevarog as Tanjiro will take down the Grim Reaper. And now another ultimate comes down. Pacifist taken low. It's only the 1 kill, but health bars not in favor of the Gambit squad. It will be a full reset, but the Pale Taxes team didn't get off that one lightly either.
Both junglers have already channeled the recoil, so it's just gonna be a repeat, I believe. Greystone taking the red buff should make it back in time to contest once more. Tanjiro, Shrimitsi, both of them still close by, not the highest in resources. We see the mana is half for our Argus on the Dusk side. Seeing on that left side, Skylar also contesting the wave. She is gonna show. Greystone takes that as an opportunity to start up this Fangtooth.
This will be the 3rd Fangtooth. This will be huge for the Pale Taxes squad. Good containment fence from Big Z is 4. They're able to get in towards the pit with B-Craze. Fangtooth drops lower and lower. He's going to crash down. Gambit stealing away B-Craze. That could be huge. We'll have the team fight free. Hit with the subjugate. But you still need to win the team fight afterwards as the Pacifist. The Hyperface looks to rip through the backline. Tanjiro is down. So is Big Z. Down goes another member. Made that for Gambit. Where was this the past 18 minutes? It's a triple kill for the AD carry.
Pacifist woke up and he chose violence, getting a triple kill as you said, securing the Fangtooth. Good smites coming in from B-Craze, and suddenly the tier 1 structure in the mid lane is going to be next to fall, and we see this gold differential sort of diminishing by the second. So much gold now injected into those important carries. 7-1. This Skylar is gonna do so much damage. Beast Solace still has not fallen in any of these team fights, but as well, he didn't find any impact in that fight either.
I mean, that's got to be the best case scenario, right, for the Gambit squad. Hey, you have this incredibly ahead counters that can cause problems, but as long as they kind of don't do anything, keep them at arm's reach, not really going to be that much of a problem. But if the Predecessor squad have got B Solis on an absolute tear, Gambit at least have got the Pacifist. It's completely opposite sides of the map where both of these teams will find their value. The neutral going over to Gambit, denying third Fangtooth point as well. So the 8% increases to offensive and defensive stacks will have to wait a little bit longer. Or Prime will be spawning in about 40 seconds as well. And this game, man, we've already been through the ringer. Can't wait to find out where this goes next.
Oh, this is such a banger of a game. We have the mini prime spawning. It looks like our team on Dusk is going to be able to secure this one once more. Seraph not making it at the time. I respect the choice of just giving it up. They have to catch the wave on the left-hand side. They shouldn't overplay their hand. Yes, they just won a team fight, but it's best to sort of win or sort of fight when they're strong and not get sort of baited into fights that you are just not as likely to win, especially with sort of the vision setup heavily in the hands of Pay Your Taxes, as well as the positioning in the pit. So really smart game plan coming out of Gambit. They really should play in those fights around Pacifist on that Skylar. I think that is going to be the biggest pressure point. Those are really strong into some of these heroes. Greystone in the mid lane is going to jump in, but Greystone, he just can't do anything against this Skylar.
Not much he can do. 4 is also there as well, just to make sure he's able to keep Pacifist alive, keep the hope for Gambit as they move past the 20-minute mark there. With the Pay Your Taxes, how they were playing as well. Probably say that you're expecting Pay Your Taxes to open up that lead, to utilize their advantage and maybe push on the neutral objective. But one team fight, one moment has all of a sudden rejuvenated Gambit here. An important few minutes coming up as we're approaching that 21-minute mark. All Prime on the board, about 2 minutes away from Primal Fangtooth spawn as well. Gambit able to move around the map with a lot more confidence right now. Wards being dropped. Gotta say, it's a lot of setup here for that next fight.
Definitely is. I think we also still have the mini prime onto the Greystone, I believe. So now it should be on Pay Your Taxes to actually look for these team fights. Seeknix in the mid lane is gonna look for a frag. Is gonna get caught out instead as the Decker is.
As the Abduct is gonna land, and just when we thought Seeknix was caught out, it's actually the Pay Your Taxes support, and now they have the numbers advantage. They're on the right-hand side of the map. Probably not confident enough to start up the All Prime just yet. They move into the blue side jungle, but if all 5 are here, Counter's just gonna split push. Another Abduct, another Mez lands, but probably not Greystone who wanted to pull in for get a big with B crazy. Let's get a lot of damage down into jungle. It goes down with the Stone Forge Soul. Gets a fair amount down, but immediately blink out. Dreadnova, Aerial Soul, another Abduct connects, and Inting Jungler is out of the fight. Countess still split pushing on towards left lane inhibitor, and now for the Gambit squad, they need to get away because this is a mini prime. The minions have already gone, and B Solace might be able to get some damage onto the core if Pay Your Taxes could just stop the recalls.
They're at least splitting their fights. Now it's gonna be the question, can Bellica reset? It looked a bit spicy there for a second, but it looks like everybody gets out. Only the inhib is gonna be claimed. Counter still on the wrong side of the map. Pacifist is looking for her. Recoil is being channeled on the left-hand side. I really want to look at this. Counters is going to be stopped. Dash away with that blink used as well. Important cooldown now missing from our Pay Your Tax side. They got the inhibitor. They paid for it though with a few lives in the mid lane. Also, importantly, that blink is not going to be available for Countess in this next team fight.
Look at the right lane as well. It's another wave that needs to be dealt with for the side of Gambit. It's the Primal Fangtooth spawns. This really doesn't favor them at this moment. The core took so much damage. It's, actually, it's going to be taking a little bit of a chunk there. I got a little bit ahead of myself, got a little bit excited, Maybe we had a back door on our hands, but apparently not, though. This game, thankfully, going to keep on going. Primal Fangtooth might be the stage for another fight, though. But Pacifist is not in this. Pacifist is dealing with the wave, and Pay Your Taxes, they know this.
They might just force this, to be honest. Beast Solace has the feast. She has the most reliable engage in the team. Big C looking to find a stun, not from long distance though, and as it stands, they're not really going in too hard, so it's just gonna be Gambit not able to catch them out quite yet, or Gambit actually catching, making sure that they have the space to play. It's gonna be started up now though. ATG needs to worry, as does the rest of the team.
Going to be moving in as well. Seeknix dives into the back. Colossal Blow connects on towards Intin Jungler to dive onto the backline, but they're very split up. B Solace is down though. Shut down. Given over to B Craze as well. He rises up crashes back down just like the Stoneforge Soul. But into jungler, Blink, burn, Seeknix, Water, Subjugate, double kill for B. Craze. Jungler is down and Gambit look to turn it around. They got minions on the core, but they're still fighting. Seeknix blinks, Subjugate lands as well. Tanjiro rejoins the fight, looking to reset. Health bar's too low. Tanjiro blinks forwards, got to try and stop some recalls. It cost them so much, but Gambit might have been forced out of this fight as the Pale Taxi squad look to collect and look to take this Primal Fang to Seeknix now in towards the pit, gonna take it. He gets the steal. What was that with the colossal blow? He will lose his life forwards, but Primal Fangtooth is secured by the Gambit squad. What was that?
There's no way the Primal Fang kept on being leashed this entire time. And the Reaper of Souls just walks in, gets the stacks and says, thank you so much. I'm gonna take that and trade my life out for this one. Not a worry in the world. The core took a bit more damage in this engagement as well, but the Morn able to depush the wave. Now it's just all gonna be onto this Prime next. DJ, what a fight this was. It was so long. It was so such a long engagement, and in the end we see pay your tax. Whew.
Yeah. Pure cinema, mate. That's what we call that. Pure cinema. Colossal blows. Well, that's a hashtag stacked right there in all chat as well, just to make sure. What a way to do it there. But it just goes to show you don't need the hunt in a steal like that. I mean, Seeknix, I want to say, how did he walk into the pit? He's kind of an ethereal Grim Reaper with a floating cloak. He doesn't get any walk anywhere, but he does seem to go where he pleases.
Definitely looks that way. Now he is pleasing to go on the left-hand side though, and that leaves a bit of timing once more for Pay Your Taxes to try it once more on the other side. Prime, I think it has spawned, but neither team really wants to go for it so far. Primal Fangtooth is still up on a few of these Gambit members. And you gotta think that for our Pay Your Taxes squad, they don't want to overplay their hands once more. They have been burnt before. Now it's gonna be on them to play it safer. They have the tools, right? They have the Decker Cage. They have the Drongo Silence. They have the stuns coming out of the Argus and the counters. They can stop those steals from happening. But so far, it's always been Gambit coming out ahead in these objective fights.
I really get the sense that Gambit are kind of relishing in the chaos. It's not simply a case of like B-Craze just dives in, gets a steal and gets back out. It's normally as a result of a fight or whilst something else is going on. I think Gambit may have just found their playstyle to try and get this game back in their control.
Damage.
All Prime now starting up. Pacifist is dealing so much. All Prime down towards 10k. The rest of the squad is here. Instant Jungler. You've seen you just be stolen away, but you could do it as well, buddy. Jungler jumps in towards the Prime pit. He will deal that little knockback as well. B-Craze crashes down, but Gambit's going to get the secure though, as Instant Jungler just can't confirm with the hunt. And now it's a double bubble buff for the Gambit squad, and Pay Your Taxes immediately on the retreat. Seeknix looks forward, can't find a Subjugate.
Oh, that was sick. Seeknix with the buffed up ultimate, just knocking the Greystone out of the pit back to the blue buff, and just really good usage there coming out of that augment, making that colossal blow even further. No chance of smiting that whatsoever. Instinct Jungle only has the chance of popping into the Stoneforged Soul, immediately dodging out on that, and he can still utilize that smite, but as it stood into 3 people, or I think 4 people off Gambit, it was just not meant to be. Now mid lane is being sieged. Tier 2 should go over quite easily. They have a siege minion. They should be able to get that. Left hand side also sieged. Mid lane though, Morn, he needs to worry. He can't get one shot.
Gonna be moving forward. Bit of a siege coming through there. Pay Your Taxes is able to wave clear effectively. But for the side of Gambit at the moment, just pushing in these minion waves. Still waiting on the mid lane. Left hand side's got a few to chuck in into that left lane inhibitor as well. Pacifist looks to try and get some damage down as well. AGT just causing problems with Seismic Assault and Pay Your Taxes. They can't really mount much of a defense. They can barely get underneath their structure to defend it, as another wave is going to crash though. These inhibitors not going to last much longer though. B-Craze was very aggressive, jumps back though. Good double stun, double Ion Strike as well. B-Craze goes very low. Silence Obliterated channeled, and down goes B-Craze. What a link up there as Tanjiro gets the kill. Seeknix though yeets Swimpy into the other side of the map though. Left lane inhibitor is an afterthought as Pacifist repositions with the aerial assault. Seeknix rejoining them as well. No inhibitors drop though and I'm pretty sure that Swifty is still flying through the air as we speak.
That must have been personal. Just yoinked him across the map into the blue side jungle, just completely knocking him around. Didn't really amount to much, to be honest. Secured 2 tier 2s with that prime push. Importantly, though, for our side of Pay Your Taxes. The map is still playable. The inhibitor line has not fallen yet. The goal difference, 5k. Honestly, not perfect for them whatsoever, but at least it's not too far apart either. Next, Fangtooth is going to be so important, TJ. That is going to be the temporary buff, of course, with the true damage, but also third Fangtooth for whoever gets it.
It's a big moment right now, and that's why I do not like Seeknik split pushing right now. We need you with this team. It's a 5 versus 4 in favor of Pay Your Taxes. You've lost one of your players able to steal this objective for moving forward, but Pay Your Taxes will cash in on that one. Blink out from 4 as they secure the third Fangtooth for themselves and Primal. 4's lost his life, and Blink's having to come out. Support is down. Seeknik is split pushing. Might be able to take the inhibitor on the right-hand side, but the Pay Your Taxes squad come out with the third Fangtooth.
Honestly, getting that in him for that Fangtooth, as you said, right, you don't really want to give it over. I think a tiny bit of a misplay from Seeknik. Also, we've seen him beforehand able to knock people out of the pit with his augmented...
Out of postcode, mate, honestly.
Out of the game, yeah. I mean... So definitely a bit
they're turning up on the brawl map down the road, you know, it's kind of mental.
Yeah, back to the lab scale mode. No, but like Seeknik definitely should have been there for the team fight, I think. So getting that inhib, sure, is pretty nice. Wanted to utilize this prime that was still available to him, but it gives over so much, right? It's not only the temporary buff, as we said, it also gives over those bonus stats, the bonus armor, those 8% bonus damage as well in terms of those damage buffs. So that is going to be just so hard to defend, especially 30 minutes into the game.
30 minutes into the game. I mean, just how this game started. I was not expecting this to go 30 minutes, honestly.
Oh, no.
It looked really good, though, for Pay Your Taxes, though, as they look to engage. So Seeknik, though, thankfully, with all that split pushing, is now a front line, though. He's able to tank it up, but Juggler dives into the back line. A lot of health bars, and a snipe with a cross-court shot. AGT is down. They've lost Pacifist as well. Pay Your Taxes collect, and it's going to be B Solace who gets that shutdown. Another Stoneforge Soul comes out. Seeknik is having to regroup with B Craze, looking to find another stun. Stoneforge Soul does come out in the end. The stun lands. B Craze having to blink away. It's going to be tick, tick, boom, down into Radrines. Find their mark, and Gambit looking so good, but they are crumbling right now at their own inhibitor line.
The Primordial Flame getting 2 of those picks, and suddenly the inhibitor line is completely under attack. 30 seconds for the Bellica to respawn. It's going to be the Sevrog and the Moon to do it all. One ultimate can clear one wave, but there's going to be so many waves coming in.
Could be the dive, though. There's the blow. B Solace is into the fountain. 4 is out for the count. And another member down. It's only Seeknik. What can he do? He's got to wait 15 seconds for AGT to join him. Instinct Jungler on the core, getting some damage. Having to wait for another shot at the core. But the ace comes through. Seeknik is down as the Primal Flame claims yet another victim. Delayed ace, whatever you want to say. But the core will finally drop. And a victory goes to Pay Your Taxes.
Holy, what a game this was.
What a game.
Honestly, if we only watched the first 5 minutes, TJ, it feels like this was obviously the outcome, but Gambit, like in the mid game, all objective fights so well fought. They secured all of them that they needed, and then at the end, sort of a few split decisions, split pushing down the Sevrog instead of contesting the third Fangtooth, sort of then getting caught in the mid lane as well. Pacifist that played so solidly this entire game, getting caught out there by the counters and just getting absolutely dumpstered. Really must feel bad. It feels like they almost had this game.
I mean, they almost completely turned it around there, having the 2 objective steals, that team fight victory as well, everything kind of going their way. And in the end, at 30 minutes, just one decision, one player caught out, and that's enough here in competitive Predecessor as well. It comes down to sometimes one decision and one of the finest margins as well. The tournament's not over for the side of Gambit. They drop down to the lower bracket. GG's to Pay Your Taxes. We're going to take on some fluids, get ready for next game. But before we do that, it's back to the desk for the post-game breakdown.
Thank you so much, TJ and Tang, for that great analysis of Game 1. And what a way to kick off the summer prelims. A roller coaster of a game. Ego, what did we see?
Oh man, that game was just so incredible. We really saw something I think can be defined by one word, and that's tenacity coming out of Pay Your Taxes. I think coming from the desk, we both talked about how the draft was so incredible coming out of their opposition, but by playing around a couple key engagements, getting a couple knockdowns on their hyper carries like Pete Grace, they were able to put themselves in a position to just win.
Just win indeed. I mean, there's a lot going for the side of Pay Your Taxes, and that's going to be Countess. The Countess was really the big game changer for, into that matchup. There was a little bit of life shown within the mid game there. We saw Gambit try and come back. But something that I think the biggest mistake is they kept making the Sev split push, especially around those big objective fights. And really, that was a deterrent to kind of give way back into Pay Your Taxes to get a little bit of wiggle room. And they took advantage of that. And that is how they were able to overcome that deficit.
And if you would have asked me during draft, luckily I'm the host, so I don't get asked this question, who had the better composition and who looked fit to be able to win that, I would have went with Gambit for sure. I thought they had all of the picks that you could need. It was a classic example of win draft, lose game. But April 15th, coming in the middle of June, the IRS is going to move on to the next round, and we've got a lot of Predecessor to be played for Gambit if they can continue to move forward in our losers bracket. Is there any one particular player, anything big that you thought was the turning point of that game, Ego?
I do have to kind of build off of what F6 said. I think it's more of what didn't happen. I would like to see Severog at a lot more of those engagements, him being split off from the team fight or the team fight being split into two more or less, like a good 60% of the time, really did just put the squad in a disadvantageous position. But you got to give credit where credit is due. Taxes just did not let them slip up and get away with it. They were able to either take out the Skylar or the Seraph, taking away a large chunk of the damage. Then with that Greystone, they were able to just take over a large portion of the team fights.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Vanquisher there. Shout out to Ameda Dev Team. Being able to pick up B-Craze a lot there from those rad rounds from Drongo. I mean, we didn't see too much damage output from him throughout the game, not really shining moments, but to me, that was really the key important parts. Able to clean up those kills with that Vanquisher, being able to get those rad round procs. I think it was very useful for them to keep up the tempo, especially talking around those objectives.
Hey, I definitely agree with you, Six. We are going to take a short little break, but don't go anywhere, Predecessors, because we will be right back with Game 2.
Witness my power! Can you taste it on the wind? Fresh glory awaits.
Welcome back in, everybody. I am still Lance, joined with Ego and F6, and we've got Winners Bracket Game 2 with a little bit more familiar names for you, as it will be the Professors taking on Flow State. Ego, two well-known teams, but what should everybody know about these guys?
I mean, these are teams that are full of veterans that have been competing in several PCCs. The Professors having a little bit more success being a championship composition in the past with some well-known names. You got Crazy Fool, you got the Boy Survivor, who's always with them, like PB and J. But on the other side, you got the PCC X jungling champion, Mercy, looking to move to a different team, but keep that same momentum he had within his last performance.
100% there. Definitely some well-known names coming into this second game we have for you here at PCC. But man, this is going to be amazing. I mean, because it's not just that the players are exciting. It's more of the storylines in between it. Like you talked about, some roster changes, right? So we're getting to see these players kind of perform in a different kind of venue. You're going to be able to see how they're able to play with other players and seeing if all that practice is going to be able to pay out today. I'm excited because this one definitely sounds close on paper. We want to see how it is on the Sanctuary.
And it is a long stretch if a team loses this game, like we have mentioned in the past. That losers bracket gauntlet is big, but we do have picks and bans ready because we want to get into this action as soon as we can. Ego, what are we going to see early in this draft?
I'm anticipating Seraph and Rampage getting banned out within this first cycle of bans, man. Mercy is such a prolific, incredibly aggressive jungler, and I don't think the Professors are going to let him get his hands on some of his favorite picks within this 1.6 meta.
I definitely agree with you there. I mean, you just got to get him out of there. We saw it in the PCG Content Creator Cup. This man is absolutely comfortable on it. And there, first off, Professor said no Seraph for you. Coming out onto the side of Flow State, though, for them, I definitely see them taking out the Richter. I know Richter's not at the top tier where it's supposed to be, but I do know Crazy Fool. I think we all know Crazy Fool is a whole entire different aspect and breed of an animal when it comes to that hero. But it's a Quang going to be first off. They still have an opportunity here to really kind of blow out that roster. I think this one's more towards the side of Nebula here to get that outside of the jungle or for Opa.
And the Decker going to be the second ban. What's the theory behind that, Ego?
I do think this is a targeted ban going against Crazy Fool. My apologies. He's been playing it in a lot more scrims, and they've been seeing a lot more success on it. My apologies. The support coming over to Flow State. I think they are charting out specific characters, not just with good placements within the meta, but ones they know Flow State is comfortable on.
Yeah, Peak definitely is a demon with that Decker, but when's the side? Get out of the Gideon. Soul Reaper, we know he loves this mid laner, and we know he got a huge amount of buffs through 1.4 with his kit change, being able to get a root. And then not only that, here comes 1.6, like, you know what? Here's some more spice for you in the mid lane. A lot to play around with there. Kind of deal with any kind of target he needs to. So it's definitely going to be an enticing one, but it's going to be the Professors not taking away on unbanned, but taking it away on the pick side of picking up that tiny Rampage.
Yeah, and that'll go into the hands of Oba Kofi. We'll see if he decides to go that tiny Titan route. I would anticipate that he does, but two picks coming through from Flow State. First up, going to be the Countess. What do you think the second pick's going to be here? Actually, it's going to be the Morn. I'll spoil it for you. But what do you think about this, Ego?
I really like these two characters. I mean, we saw them within the last game, right? Have pretty solid performances despite them being on separate sides. We know the Countess, if she's able to develop a lead early, can be an incredibly prolific force against all the lanes in a meta that does require a lot of rotations, and Morn is just good, you know? That's not the best explanation, but between his ulti and the Eclipse, his healing can sustain. He's just really solid, as now we're going to see the Crazy Fool Richter get locked in alongside the Sparrow.
Yeah, and I kind of knew that was coming, right? I mean, we've seen some scrims in the backside before leading up to PCC 2025 here, ladies and gentlemen, and this man has not really lost any games on that Richter. So this one is something to be watching out for. But a great kind of looking into the future here, what I like from Professors is, hey, we probably know you're going to be able to pick the Revenant up here. We don't have our ban phase yet, so let's go ahead and pick that Sparrow at least early to be able to counter that Rev. And that's going to be a pretty interesting dual lane matchup between that Morn, that Richter, because these guys both have some long-range engagements.
And the Feng Mao is going to come through as a ban, but I am a little surprised to see the Revenant picked up after the Sparrow already being locked in. A little bit of an early game advantage, but as the game starts to go on, the DPS just gets too high for the Revenant to deal with if he ults that Sparrow. Bellica going to be the next ban that comes through on the side of Professors as well.
I like taking away the Bellica here. You do have some good things that allow you to pick off the enemy side on flow state between the Revenant ult, between the Countess, engage, being able to remove the Seismic Assault from something they could possibly pick up in the mid lane here or into the support lane, knowing that Morn has some flex potential. Just seems like a safe ban, as now flow state is going to be picking up this Argus.
And this is also a comfort pick going towards the side of Simba on flow state here. That Argus is going to be a nice pickup for him if he does not have that Bellica. So still a bit some room here to play around with. Big thing going for flow state right now is they have some pretty decent amount of CC, pretty decent amount of damage. So they'll be able to kind of play around that. A little bit riskier on the side of Professors with that Richter. Yes, Crazy Fool is a demon, but he's going to have to hit those hooks. He can't really rely on anything else. He has to get into that closer range to really kind of pick apart. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm really liking the overall kind of feel here to close out the picks here for the side of Professors. That Terra, big, huge, being able to talk about CC on the side of flow state, using that unstoppable force. We know Howie just has that damage.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see that Terra locked in, but now that you mentioned the unstoppable force into that amount of crowd control, it is starting to make a little bit more sense. I like the idea of what they are drafting. We have one more pick coming in for flow state. It's going to be that offlaner. It's going to be that Severog.
I do like the Severog to be able to round out their composition, right? You have some burst engage that's going to be coming out of the Countess, and now you have some sustain and tankiness alongside it with this Sev pick. As F6 pointed out, they have some really solid CC. They got the Dreadnought, the Pool coming out of the Morning. Now with this Severog, I'm hoping they're going to be able to sustain themselves out some of these fights, where on the other side, you have some real burst potential coming between the Howitzer and the Sparrow.
Something I'm really excited about here is there's a potential for that Tiny Rampage to be inside of that off lane. And right now, Rampage can play inside the jungle or inside that off lane. He's really potent just due to the amount of damage he's able to output, especially when you think about the Tiny Rampage augment being inside there, Tiny Titan himself. He's going to be able to go against that Severog pretty easily. And it's going to be kind of a little bit more advantageous for the Professors to have that Terra as their jungler, just for the fact of they kind of need that unstoppable force all the time going into those early objectives and not just the late game.
Oh, I have been excited for this particular game all week. I am not going to waste any of your time. Let's toss it back to TJ and Tang.
Holy, if game one was anything to go by, I cannot wait what game number 2 will bring here. Welcome everyone back to the casting desk. It's Professors versus Flow State. Some of the bigger names here in the community scene on the NA side here, taking part in the PCC NA preliminaries. TJ Tang alongside me once again. Man, we got some big names here. I am looking forward to this one.
Oh, that's the beauty of a bracket like this, right? Second round, and we already have a banger game like this, right? We're former PCC champions on both sides. We have pretty much guaranteed sort of top 8 positions, right? Coming in from both of these teams now facing off in the second round. It is going to be a loser bracket still to fall down to, but honestly, I don't think either one of these teams, wants to drop in the second round already.
No, absolutely not. And then meeting each other in this as well. There is a little bit of backstory to this matchup as well. Of course, one of the other also. Oh, I absolutely will. We've got a little bit of time whilst we're getting the game ready. Just needs a little bit longer in that oven, just before it's all good to throw up onto the stream as well. Is that, of course, we have got other tournaments going on in the scene. So this is the PPL, more of a league system here. The Professors and Flow State both played in the qualifiers for that event. Flow State beat out Professors in a best of 3, which a lot of us were saying was actually kind of like a bit of an eyebrow raiser. Professors on paper, stronger team, but Flow State just came out swinging. So this game got a bit of bite to it.
I mean, not only a tiny bit, because as you said, right, it's a league format, and Flow State prevented them from qualifying at all, right? So it is definitely gonna be Professors feeling salty about this one. So this is gonna be one of those games that you don't only watch for the gameplay. Of course, that is still gonna be the primary focus, but also both of these teams against each other, right? There's so much history between them. We have former, as we said before, former PCC champions. We have sort of the grudge match coming in from PPL. We have I don't know, fantastic, like 2 times PCC champions on Professor squad, 1 time PCC champion on Flow State's sort of squad, with PCC 10, I believe, being won by Mercy on Leftovers. So definitely going to be a bang of a matchup.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, I mean, Professors as well, just looking at the roster, Proficiency, Oba, Soul Reaper, Survivor, Crazy Fool. Everyone knows these names, especially if you've been watching Predecessor here on Twitch. Now you all know Soul Reaper, you all know Crazy Fool as well. playing on the same team. This roster is absolutely stacked, bringing in proficiency from PCC 5 as well. And they go up against Flow State because, you know, spoke about Mercy, been seeing him in the Creator Cup as well, absolutely demolishing objectives, stealing them left and right, playing for Event Horizon last time as well. Absolute demon. BKB is back, playing his Sevarog, Maguli, Stimba, Eek, rounds out the rest of their roster. So much, I say, so much to look forward to. I genuinely can't wait there as well. So I kind of like, I'm almost like in anticipation as well, because I'm waiting for this game to go as well, because I really want to see who wins this.
I mean, 100% same for me. Also, like, if you have never followed the Pred comp scene, right? Like, all of these names are familiar to you if you just check the in-game leaderboard, because I think out of the top 20, I'm sure, like, almost all of them are in there, right? So it's gonna be the clash of the Titans. I think, Maguli, you mentioned it before, right? In the mid lane. Fighting for the top 1 spot, it feels like every other day he gets it. Every other day he gets dethroned as well. So definitely a lot of sort of individual skill coming in for both of these squads. Now the big question is, we know they have the skill, we know they can execute, but can they execute as a team, and can they execute better as their opponent on the day? Remember, this is gonna be a best of a 1. Stakes are high. And with that, I think we are just gonna drop down into the Sanctuary.
Absolutely. Choice plays on production. Roll this clip. Let's get ready for this one. Professors versus Flow State on the Sanctuary map. This is game number 2 here on the main channel. It's going to be Professors on Dawn side. Flow State taking up position on the Dust side. Everyone on the jump pads. Ober, I know you just missed that one. Don't worry. You can have another cop. There you go. Gonna be jumping down. Okay, Tang. I mean, we spoke about the background. We spoke a little bit outside the game. Let's go move into the game right now. Let's look at some of the hero selections and really analyze, you know, what do you think about both of these drafts here for both teams?
I mean, it's all going to be dependent on those augments that we haven't had a chance to catch up on quite yet. But I really think that for the Sevarog in the jungle role, I think if he goes for that enhanced ultimate again, he could sort of play to secure those smites. I think they have a really good sort of late game comp on Flow State. Meanwhile, Professors, they have those pick potentials, right? The Terra together with the Howitzer, and then most likely the Tiny Titan in that off lane. That is exactly what you sort of want to have when you want to get those picks. And the late game insurance, always that Sparrow on that left hand side. Survivor, one of the mainstays in the Predecessor competitive scene, has been around for such a long time, together with his long standing support Crazyful.
And we're just having a look down, a brief look at the scoreboards there. At least for the side of Flow State. Augments relatively the same. I don't think any surprises coming out there. I know that Simba has opted for the mana converter, so I'll just get a little bit more bang for his buck from his passive. But Spider-Man is back, the enhanced crit shot as well, going to be on that Revenant, and also a return for the Bloodwell and that Colossal Blow augment for the side of Flow State. Didn't quite go through the Professor's side there. Did you catch any of them, Tang, yourself?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, proficiency on that right-hand side is going for the Tiny Titan. So he wants to get those trades as he hits level 2. Gonna be a good trade onto the counters. With no level 2, it's just gonna be her being pummeled in that isolated 1v1. The mid lane, Soul Reaper with that enhanced mine, able to space himself to infinity and beyond, and also set up those ganks coming in from the rest of the Professor's squad. We have the dual lane with Survivor going for that Invis, I believe. So he doesn't have the most peel. The Richter more of an offensive support. So the Sparrow is just going to look to peel for herself.
Sure, then with that invisibility, just being able to get a little bit extra time to ramp up that damage. I mean, it got banned in the previous game, and maybe this is the game where we get to see what all the kerfuffle is about. Good avoidance of the boulder toss there as we have a fight on the right-hand side. It's the off-lane jungle fighting it out there. Looking forward, reposition as the Mercy's going to follow through. The blink comes out, proficiency down, first blood secured by BKB. It's the minions getting involved. They're going to take another one. Ober is down. Flow State grab 2. Now Simba and Soul Reaper clash inside of the river, but Simba's got reinforcements. Soul Reaper throws himself back. The blink, the walk forward as well from BKB. Soul Reaper blinks back as well. Might keep himself alive, but the health bars are low. So is the mana. This might just come down to basic attacks, but Soul Reaper, I don't think you're winning this one. He will go back to his jungle. Peak was there just in case things got awry, but what a start.
I mean, just in case it got it right, it definitely did on the right-hand side. Invade
could've
gets
got more.
punished. Yeah, it could be even more. Simba, good rotation, cutting off the escape routes. And you gotta think, is Sevarog gonna counters? Can they really contest the Terror and the Rampage at level 2, at level 3? It definitely looks like they did. Counters and Sevarog winning that isolated 2v2. As I said, rotation by Simba, but more to catch off or sort of make sure that no escapes can happen. And suddenly we have an early lead, and that gives me flashbacks to the first game we had where the counters in the offlane also got ahead.
It was one of them picks where we had an opportunity there. I mean, with the Sevarog and the Countess, there was a flex potential. Could have had the Countess going in towards the jungle, the Sevarog in towards the offlane, and also all the side of Professors as well with the Terror and the Rampage. Could have very easily swapped that around, but both times we've gone for the Countess in the offlane Tang. I mean, what do you make about the decisions as a self-proclaimed offlane savant yourself?
I think Countess is one of the sort of like hardest heroes to punish in the offlane. I think a meaner way to say it would be to say she's one of the easiest heroes to play in the offlane because she's so easy to keep high HP through her inherent healing. And also her dueling is so strong and her scaling is deceptively fast as well. She's not one of those heroes that needs to have the most sort of items to have impact, but with the stun, the feast, right, that is sort of just a lock in, right, and you get the stun. That is one of her strengths mid lane. Mercy is gonna look for the howitzer, no blink up, it's not gonna get punished too much, just a bit of trading, but it's gonna be Oba making the rotation in as well. Slowly but surely, 5 minutes roll around. Fangtooth is gonna be on the cards. Usually one of those objectives that especially Mercy loves to hit early.
Mercy has really just got his finger on the pulse of the objectives here in the competitive predecessor scene right now. Sorpa going low as he just get caught out to the right-hand side of the Fangtooth pit. Oba having to try and fight it out, so he'll use that Reckless Assault to reposition. But a pick onto Soul Reaper allows FlowState immediately to start up the objective.
Oh, this should go over with no contest. Terra is on the 4 camp. She could peek in, but honestly, against 4 people, against Peek with that Mesmerize, against Simba with that Ether Crystal, it's just so hard to get into the pit and then realistically get out or get the steal for yourself, especially with that level 6, that Unstoppable, not available quite yet. And FlowState with, on the paper, a team comp that scales a bit better but has a weaker early game. They find the picks that they need. They capitalize on the over-aggression in the mid lane. Soul Reaper caught off guard. Did not respect the fact that he is a blinkless in the mid lane. And is the cause for an early Fangtooth take for our FlowState team.
And I really like that from these teams as well, as we kind of, increase the experience here as well. I mean, we spoke about, especially on our first game as well, where we had players representing our PCC events, but not quite finding success. Now we got the teams that have found that success as well. And already you could just start to see a few of the differences, a few subtle changes, how they move around the map, how both junglers looked for the mid lane pick before that Fangtooth pit. And then it was just waiting around. As I say, Soul Reaper gets caught out as FlowState overstay. Actually get rewarded for it as well. 3 kills to 0. Mini Prime up in 20 seconds. A solid start, gotta say, for the Dust Squad roster. It's up to Professors try and even things up.
TJ, historically, what I would have said is Professors, one of the teams that we know can make it, right? But PCC 10, they were not able to make it out of groups. Now, once again, on the left-hand side, Survivor gets exploded by the Argus from the mid lane. With that, another pick claimed, 4-0. Professors, they're reeling, and they're not finding a way to strike back.
Just the range as well. Simba with that Synaptic Obliterator through the wall, taking the shots and combines in with the burst from Maguli and Peek on that duo lane as well. Beautifully executed. I don't think Survivor was aware of that one. Graceful hit by another Mez. Ultimate starting to become available here. This duo lane really running into some problems already.
No, it's gonna be the 7-minute mark reached. It feels like every single lane is losing for our Professor squad. Oba has not been able to make any impact so far in this game. Tried at the early invade towards the blue side, but that turned awful for them, right? So they just don't have any avenue to play through. Mid lane has been ganked over and over again. Now on the left-hand side, the Sparrow also caught off guard in this. Not good enough when there is just a homing missile. flying your way. Now, the support rotation towards that prime pit. This could indicate to us that this might be one of those places to play for. Crazy for also making his presence known in the mid lane. Both of these teams just looking for one pick before they want to start up these objectives.
And Peak for now has been finding the better value. Say, but Crazy Fool never underestimate the Richter. Definitely do not underestimate Richter in the hands of Crazy Fool as well. A pick that he has made a name for himself on as well throughout the entire time here in the Predecessor scene. The flow states, honestly, right now, not making it look like it's all that's
Counters
to be really there. Mini Prime secured for themselves. The Professors went for the collapse on the right-hand side. The Flow Slate collapsed on a neutral objective. 4 kills going away, and the second neutral in their pocket right now. What else can this Flow State team take?
Terra, she tried to go for an invade towards the right side, but there was just nothing up for her to grab. So in the end, just an easy frag as in the mid lane. Soul Reaper getting the positioning with that extended mine, but the extended ultimate range of the Sevrog as well, knocking him in a bad spot. Should be able to escape. Maguli, though, still chasing.
Is on the hunt. Soul Reaper just waddling away as fast as he can until the very next day. Should be able to link up though with Proficiency, get him out to safety. But once again, how quick the execution can come from, and Mercy with that augmented colossal blow once again throws another player. Doesn't matter the match, it's the same result, and that ult will only get crazier as this game goes on. Still 4 kills, 0, and another rotation of neutrals on the way. Second Fangtooth about to drop down.
That Sevrog ultimate is not going to be available for this next Fangtooth fight, though. So this could be one of those times where they can actually make the play. Yes, Howitzer is also not going to have the Make It Rain available. But you gotta think that the Sevrog ultimate is gonna be more impactful, especially seeing how easy it is for him to knock the enemy jungler out of the pit. Granted, Terra's Unstoppable should also be able to prevent this, as Soul Reaper in the mid lane just once again gets absolutely hate crimed in the mid lane. Is gonna get that frag down. It's gonna be BKB going in a bit too deep.
Having to blink away there, but honestly, with the amount of tents up in this mid lane, you think it was Glastonbury coming down to the Sanctuary map there. But Flow State, once again, get the pick straight to a neutral objective. This will be their third unanswered one claimed for themselves. How much we said about the Professors here, but right now, Flow State dominating the headlines. So they can't say that they're doing anything particularly fancy right now. Just really clean team play.
Definitely looks that way so far. I think for Professors, they need to find an avenue to play for. I think potentially it could be the Rampage on the right-hand side. You mentioned before, Mercy last weekend on Event Horizon, he played the Tiny Titan Rampage in the jungle, and after the mid-game, he was just absolutely running over the game with the Ashbringer, able to be the carry that his team needed. Maybe Proficiency can do the same, known as one of the best carry players in the offlane that we have. Usually plays those high-impact characters, whether it's the Feng Mao or in this 1.6 patch, the Tiny Titan Rampage that also acts sort of like as a damage dealer, even though he is sort of inherently one of the more tanky characters. But Professors, they definitely need to find an answer to this Flow State team that is just slowly but surely bleeding them out.
Yeah, well, I guess you could say this is what happens when a team really gets into the flow of things right now. Flow State's really, I know, kind of bad pun and all that, but hey ho, they're 5 kills up. Looking pretty good about it there, but they're still having to make sure that Professors can't find an avenue, can't find something to cling on to whilst the tide turns against their favor right now. Soul Reaper just wants to walk through his jungle, man. Immediately, the service here, Make It Rain, will come out. Mercy has got eyes for only one player, goes potentially for the dive, but there's going to be the follow of their Maguli with the blink, with the kill, is able to find out to Soul Reaper. Good Impale, Reckoning comes out to fight in the Shadow Realm. So Lucky's reposition over, blinks over our camera's perspective, able to reposition there. The Crazy running down Maguli, the blink after. What a route from Simba though. Maguli still trying to find it out, but Crazy Fool with the Goomba Stomp takes down Maguli. But in that entire melee, this fight still goes on. It's now Peak in trouble as Proficiency has rejoined the fight right now, and Peak with Spider-Man can't get away from that one. Survivor gets a kill into their pocket as the dual lanes looks to get involved. It's a party and everyone's invited to the mid lane.
Oh no, Flow State, they overchase a tiny bit, 2 for 2, but in the end, that is always in favor of the team that is behind. Professors really happy to pick up those 2 frags. Granted, one of them went over to the Richter on the support role. Probably not the person that you want to have it on, but it's definitely better than trading down in that engagement. Still, a bit of an overchase there. Maguli needs to keep his discipline in order. We don't want to see him chase between turrets before they've even despawned. Mercy against the Rampage is going to force out that blink on the right-hand side. Proficiency, we've seen him in this last engagement. Showing off.
Going off with the boulder toss there, just catching onto Mercy before it hits the terrain. Subjugate there, Mercy, not going to find a range, so the full recall will be channeled by Proficiency. Once again, all players seem to understand where they should be right now. Mini Prime going to be spawning soon. 4 members, yeah, definitely 4 members of the Flow State team. This heat's getting, man. 4 members
1,
of the
2,
Flow
3,
State
4.
team. 1, 2, 3, 4. I am a musician. I should be able to count to 4. You know, that seems to be my strong suit here, at least. Get Maguli in, and it all falls apart there. Mini Prime on the mark. Professions, though, really grouping up here. They need this objective, Tang, not just for the buff itself, but I think just try and get back into this game.
One of the many things we talk about on cast is always the momentum as well, and you gotta think when you give over so much, at some point you just have to strike back, otherwise you go into a loser's mindset, and that's definitely not what the survivor, what this Professor squad wants. As they pick up this Mini Prime, it's being traded out on the left hand side for the tier 1, also some damage onto the tier 1 turret in the mid lane. So in the end, not the worst situation for Flow State, but at the same time it's an important thing claimed for themselves. As BKB Proficiency not having the blink up, it's not going to be engaged on though.
Let's say just boxing it out with BKB, looks to reposition, but Proficiency can't move further forward. The power of the Spectator, we know that Flow State waiting in the wings. I think Professors as well have had to kind of adapt to that. How many times have they gone a bit over aggressive and caught out by members they just did not know
They're so late.
were there? So late.
Look at this, Fangtooth.
Yeah, I know. They go for the reset there, and Flow State immediately just jump on it straight away. And this will be third Fangtooth point as well. They need to stop this.
They just can't make it in time, and suddenly third Fangtooth just claimed no contest. Flow State, we just said, Professors, they don't want to go into a loser's mindset. They want to trade back when they can. Instead, they're just so late on the rotation, not respecting the damage coming out of a level 11 Argus that can just spam that particle shredder, explode the Fangtooth. And suddenly, even with the Mini Prime in Ober's hands, there's just no way to contest this team fight.
Absolutely not, and that gives Flow State the power, 8% offensive and defensive buffs to their entire team for the rest of the game as well, and that is percentage going to stack though, and Flow State want to make sure that they feel every single increment their Mercy going forward, but cannot find the colossal blow. Graceful taking a lot of damage from Simba, and Maguli will finish off with the Obliterate, make it rain from Soul Reaper, just trying to throw damage down, but Flow State moving from one player to the next to focus fire. Proficiency caught in between 3 members. Soul Reaper though, with the R2000 artillery, gets the shutdown on towards Simba, but he now needs to reposition, jumps, blinks over, joins up with Proficiency. As Flow State are now the ones losing health. They need to try and get out of this one peak, trying to get everyone away, and this is what happens when the Professors are able to weather the storm. They're able to fight back. It's a 1-for-1 support for the mid lane.
We know that Professors can teamfight, so it's all the more questionable why they gave over the Fangtooth for free. The teamfight did go in favor of Professors, honestly. Supports traded for the mid lane, definitely a trade up for themselves, utilizing this Mini Prime buff on Oba to buy themselves time until, as we said before, Proficiency can enter the fight, as the Tiny Titan just chewing through the front line. So much damage coming out of the Rampage. Has the Tainted Blade complete, goes for the Ashbringer second, so this guy is gonna hurt.
He is gonna hurt, but as I say, we're waiting for that moment. Professors are waiting for that moment because we've seen it, as you said, Tang, on this channel just 1 week ago with a tiny Rampage running around, biting everyone's ankles, but taking names, getting kills, getting frags, and setting up the rest of the team. And just how many boulder tosses I think that we count there is able to get off in a fight with that Ashbringer unlocked. It's quite nuts, I gotta say here. But that's a lot of waiting here. So Flow State feels like they're on a little bit of a timer, but as we said before, they do have a bit of a late game composition. So this one's still a bit of interest to it.
BKB really wants to fight against Proficiency, does not respect the Rampage too much quite yet, knows the rest of his squad is not close by, but neither is the enemy Oba in the jungle. They might look for the rotation on the left-hand side. No objectives are up for either team to gain. 18 minutes in, the game heavily in favor of Flow State, but Professors, they have found a way to strike back in these team fights. They just need to keep it up. They need to make sure that this gold lead is not going to go out of control, especially considering that Flow State has already secured the Fangtooth point for themselves with those extra stats in their pocket. Mercy on the left-hand side.
Looking for the flank there as Peak says, all eyes on me. 2 hit with a Mesmerize. Here comes Mercy. Graceful Riplash. Since Survivor's got to deal with Peak. Mercy, Blink, looking for the subjugate. Survivor pops the inner fire. The Impale comes out as a lot of DPS, but Mercy still is able to get the stack, and Simba helps out. Graceful Blink straight into an Ether Crystal. That was played to perfection as Flow State collapse on the duo lane, and Professors are 2 members down.
And just as we said, it's just not possible to trade anything on the other side of the map. No objectives up, and Proficiency, he just has to run away from BKB on that counters. Oba is going to make his entrance as well. Elusive as the counters is, dashing away, is going to get hit with the Highlands. Her Blink just in time to evade the boulder toss.
Oh, that could have been so close as well. Professors, even when they're in a deficit, they're still proactive, still making plays. But that's ultimates down. That's Blink shoes on the right-hand side. And look at Flow State flood into the right-hand side with Mercy leading the charge. Subjugates will connect. Mercy sends Proficiency forward. He's going to Blink, maybe able to get to the gateway. Root comes through, but Proficiency just in the nick of time will get out of there, but he's now got to go into phase 2 of this boss fight. Maguli's on the way. BKB is here. What you doing over here, buddy? Solo laners on the dual lane. Proficiency is down. The Great Escape unfortunately fails.
The Great Escape also baits the rest of the team closer to the Fangtooth that just spawned at this second.
Oh, no.
It's gonna be the 4th one. And so much damage, as we said. Simba on that Argus with the Particle Shredder, able to deal out so much damage to the Fangtooth. It doesn't even look like the rest of the squad wants to rock up, as they're just gonna have to trade the tier 1 in the mid lane for it.
4 Fangtooths down for Flow State. 2 mini primes as well.
BKB.
Flow State's just running the show. BKB looking for a play. Eclipse will be popped by Peak as well, but Survivor finds himself isolated, hits by 1 ability, hit by the... It's just too much, man. Survivor's only a Sparrow, got all the invisibility in the world, but his health bar is 0. Crazy Fool will mourn the loss of his AD carry, but that's to pick Flow State onto the Orb Prime, and Professors are reeling.
Professors, like, they are just losing across the map. Howitzer trying to split push on the left side, trying to get anything for his team. They're trying to get some damage onto the tier 1. They don't even need all 5 members into the pit. They're just gonna get their Orb Prime as an afterthought, as the rest of the squad make sure that the rest of those lanes stay fine as well. We're just talking about Professors able to contest with Flow State in these team fights. One of those caster curses once again, TJ. I gotta say, as Flow State
strikes again.
Just absolutely taking over once more.
Taking over, and again, it's not doing anything particularly flashy. It's just solid gameplay here. Professors look to try and capitalize. Boulder toss into Riplash. It's a combo we've not seen this entire game. Mercy hits free with the Subjugate. He's going to try and trade out with Proficiency, but Mercy is down. 1 player without the double buffs. 4 more to go.
Tier 1 still available. So much standing gold for our team on Dusk. Flow State, they greeded for the tier 1, they get punished. Professors, good rotation, but they had to utilize a lot of those ultimates to defend this tier 1, so they're just gonna have to give it up next once the counters makes the rotation over. Also, mid lane, tier 2, falling in a second. Sorry, but you can't step up like this. Another ultimate blow.
Another ultimate, that's to make it rain down. But honestly, Simba with these Dreadnovas, this Silencing Obliterator finds 2 shots. Soul Reaper has to reset, tags in over. But Flow State just sticking around it. They know they're not really under much threat. They have the minion wave. Now they're going to start the siege onto the mid lane inhibitor. Right lane being pushed in from BKB as well. Oba, Crazy Fool, and Survivor. What can they do to try and hold back the flood?
This is a 4 versus 5, but they're not scared whatsoever. Mercy slowly but surely on the rotation back. as those minion waves channel into that inhibitor line. Half HP on the mid inhibitor. Right one is also being pressured by this Countess. Severok making the way over now as well. They have one more wave with the double buff.
And is going to crash into the inhibitors. Oba rejoins the fight. 5 versus 5 underneath the mid lane inhibitor. Critical hits that Riplash. Mercy though able to get away. Eclipse opt by Pika as well. Mercy taking a lot of damage, but inhibitor does drop. And it's going to be the reposition. Proficiency jumping back as Mercy has to reset. Another Riplash will connect. There's another Impale. Immediately cleanse and now into the Reckoning, and that will arrive. Crazy Fool is down. Sorry, but Oba going forward. Peek, blink, mesmerizes on towards 2 as the rest of Flow State want to clean up this fight there as Maguli's going to find 2. Oba is so low, and BKB now looking for a feast target. Oba getting back towards his fountain, but it will be at the cost. Proficiency jumps in. Maguli has got 3 in his pockets, and he's got still a few more bullets left. BKB will go down for the dive. Health bars are low. Flow State stick or twist. How about a pull into an Ether Crystal into Oba's death? Mercy with the stack and now minions on the course. Survivor doing what he can, but unfortunately it's not enough. Flow State completely control this game from start to finish and are your deserved victors here.
Flow State's continuing on the winners bracket while the Professors get knocked down. A repeat of the PPL, the community tournament, as we said beforehand. Professors, honestly, they had their shining moments, but in the end, Flow State just controlling the map to perfection, always finding those picks, especially towards the mid lane. Soul Reaper not getting a second alone in this game. And honestly, Simba with those Argus stunts across the map, just connecting with all of them.
Just going for a few cross-court shots there, even finding marks with a Synaptic Obliterator as well. But the team play, right? Just the collapses, able to play around each other as well. Mercy leading the charge as well, but really, it was a full team effort. And Maguli as well, triple kill at the end. You could tell that even if that game carried on, still would not be over for Flow State. It still would have been in control. 23-minute game. What a very, especially when we compare with game number 1, right, Tang? You know, that was just back and forward, instant classic here on the main channel. But this one, a lot more about team play, a lot more about macro, and that, you know, was just 2 completely dynamically opposed games there.
I mean, 100%. And I think, like, Professors, we give them a lot of the benefit of the doubts, right? They are one of our best teams that we have in Predecessor. So them falling sort of is a bummer, right? But we always think that they can make it back, right? Like, we've seen them fall behind so many times. That's why we sort of always inherently think, okay, Professors, they can make the difference. They can win the games. But as we said at the beginning as well, Flow State, they are no slouches whatsoever either. And they proved it in this game, completely shutting up the doubters. Mercy once more, this time not on Flow State, not on Leftovers, is going to prove his worth once more on Flow State instead. And what a dominant game it was out of them.
Complete domination. Flow State advanced to the winners bracket. Professors condemned to the lower side. It's going to do it from us here on the cast. Going to throw it back to the desk. The post-game breakdown.
Hey, thank you, TJ and Tang, for an excellent cast. And Flow State picking up the win in winners bracket round 2. Ego, what happened in that game?
One team loaded up into Pro Predecessor, the other team loaded into a track meet and proceeded to run down the opposition. I mean, they got some early picks, and when the only thing guaranteed is the early game and the other team is scaling very well into the late game, it just spells out disaster.
I mean, yeah, you just saw an absolute dominant performance here coming out of Flow State. They knew what they had to do, right? They had to shut down that mid lane. They did that. And then from that point on, they got such a significant lead. It was just so hard to come back from. They controlled the pace, the tempo of this entire game, and they showed up here. This is why earlier I said to you, Lance, I'm here for the best of ones. Anybody can lose on game day, and that is what we saw here in game number 2.
Right, and that will push Professors, one of the favorites in this tournament, all of the way down into that losers bracket. They have a gauntlet to run through if they are going to end up making our main stage on the 12th of July. But we are going to take a little bit of a break, and we will be right back with a best of 3 series. Welcome back into the NAPCC Summer Prelims. I am still Lance. We've had a little bit of a change on our desk. Joining me now, more stunning than an Arbash Thunk, we've got TJ. DJ, how are you?
Cheers, Lance. Yeah, it's awesome to be here, from the sanctuary map, and now onto the desk with you fine gentlemen.
Yes, and we also have someone looking sharper than your ace blade. Tang, how are you?
Hey yo, happy to be here, Lance. You looking dope as well, of course, as always. And yeah, as TJ said, we just had 2 banger games. Now we're ready to analyze the rest of the games going on today.
And we have moved past our best of 1 into a best of 3, and we have a banger matchup for you. 2 absolute powerhouses within the Predecessor community. Team Rogue taking on the European super team, Team Immune.
Yeah, Team Immune are the only European team taking part here in the NA prelims. So, just want to make sure, I get my bias to one side, of course, as the resident EU casters as well. But yeah, this is going to be awesome, of course. Yeah, EU, woo! Okay, cool. Gonna bring it back down. Yeah, Lance is going to fire me or something here. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be so good. Team Immune, fantastic team here from EU, and Rogue as well, very much a fan favorite team. So this should be a really entertaining best of 3.
Honestly, I'll count Rogue as well as honorary EU as well, with Wenger also part British, of course, as well. So this is gonna be a banger game for all of you EU peeps to watch. Also, I think we have a bit of a substitute coming in as well for Rogue. Warps is not gonna be able to make it today, so we're gonna have the Venom instead subbing in the jungle role.
With Venom, it definitely becomes a big EU powerhouse matchup with Wangle and Venom both on it. Everybody knows Wangle will always be NA West at heart, though. We do have this draft ready. A best of 3 series. It all starts with Game 1's draft. What can we expect early, TJ?
Well, I mean, for the Game 1 draft, the bans, I think, just stay pretty much towards the meta, at least. Take away what we've been seeing, take away that Iggy, probably take away that Seraph. You want to make sure as well, probably bans was Sparrow as well, could have a bit of a place here as well. And then it'll be Game 2 and potentially Game number 3, where the bans could be changing up here. So I think we stay pretty consistent here. Wukong was not a ban I was expecting, considering no one seems to be playing him right now.
From the games we've seen so far, but I think in scrims, we definitely see it come out sometimes. Conta, one of those heroes that loves to have those high impact picks, especially in the jungle role. We also know Moreau's in the offlane, likes to pick up those bruisers as well. Seraph being banned away, one of those picks you were highlighting. Also Greystone, I think the bruiser pool is really the one to target in those bans.
I believe so as well. We're going to see the Iggy be taken off the board by Team Rogue. Fox not wanting to play with that in the mid lane. And will we see that Greystone as the next ban, TJ?
I mean, they could show their hand early here and kind of commit to that, but I also think as well with the Greystone, you kind of have to commit to the playstyle around the Greystone as well. So you're going to show that you're diving. You're going to be showing that you're going to be aggressive. You're not going to be playing passive. So you could lock that one in early as well, but maybe even get some other priority picks as well with that first pick though. Although Team Immune having 2 additional picks available to themselves now, it's a very scary time. I think Rogue got a lot to think about here.
So many potential bans to come in. The Steel pickup early is honestly a bit surprising to me. Has not really found its way into the jungle pool quite yet too much. So I think that is most likely going to be in the offlane or the support role. And now for Immune, there's a few high priority picks open they could opt for. I think the Aurora would be one of them. Conte, historically one of the best Aurora players. And of course also the Greystone that we've been harping on about so much beforehand. Really solid in the offlane, but can also be flexed into the jungle.
Right, and we love seeing flexibility out of our picks early in the draft. That's where you see the experience of these teams. Both Greystone and Steel picked up respectively on both of these sides. Could be flexed to any position. As me and Tang know, Gadget also a very flexible pick.
True.
Honestly, Choice, you had to put me on the desk with the 2 gadgets enthusiasts here. Biggest gadget enthusiasts in EU and NA as well. So, let me out of here, man. Honestly, yeah, Steel surprising as well. Gadget, again, I think is another early pick. For sure there. You do have potential to kind of combine it with other picks. I was a bit surprised to see it come out so early on. Revenant, we have seen, Maguli popping off in that previous game as well. This Kwang, though, is something that I'm really excited to see because there have been some whispers and some rumblings that Kwang might be one of the strongest offlane picks in the game right now.
think not only offlane, but as we said before, right, flex pick can be put into the jungle as well. Really solid at the moment. Like all the Quang mains that were sort of sad that 1.5 didn't treat Quang too well are really happy with 1.6 so far. Quang really been a powerhouse. So has Sarah's been big and glow up coming in as well. All the augments fit him really well, whether it's the flow state with that E reset, or whether it's that ascended with those stats gains. Next steps of bans coming in. Feng and Mao being taken away from our team of Rogue.
Yeah, and we've seen Ven play a lot of Feng Mao in the scrims. Grimmin to come through too, and with that Zara's reveal, it does kind of push that Greystone into the offlane for Team Immune.
So, absolutely, yeah. I think they have got a choice there for sure. I mean, maybe there is a possibility to flex that in towards jungle as well, have Zaras go into the offlane as well. But that's something that Team Immune can kind of play around with. And Morose actually quite enjoys the Zaras as well, so he'd be pretty happy with both of them as well. Bans towards the ADC pool, not a surprise. Neft here, got to be the big talisman player for Team Immune, one of the best AD carries that we have in the European scene as well. Going to be on a Twin Blast, so he's going to be feeling pretty happy, I got to say, to be able to move around, have a lot of that mobility, especially when having to deal with the likes of this tether, of this black hole on top of it as well. There's a lot of pressure on the very immobile Twin Blast and gadgets to get away from this dive.
Yeah, I mean, either they get away or the rest of the squad finds the dive themselves, right? With that Sarah's cage maybe connecting onto the rest of the squad. I think, generally speaking, Team Immune, they play with a lot of range. I think the gadget and the TB both can play from further back. Also, the skill shots are not the hardest to hit. So honestly, like, considering the ping disadvantage they hop into the game with, I think that is a smart drafting choice for Rogue. Though on the other side, Terra Gideon being picked up looks like a really solid front to back team. Can do everything pretty well. Honestly, I like the squad on the left hand side. Team Immune rounding out their draft with a Morn.
All right, the picks and the bans are in both teams, looking pretty potent. TJ, tell me what you think about Rogue. Tang, tell me what you think about Immune.
Rogue, honestly, I think this is all in on the skirmish. It's all in on the team fight as well. It's a very aggressive, get in your face type of composition as well. It would be allowing Haru on that Revenant to kind of just exist in the chaos around it as well. Also has that Reckoning as a bit of a get out of jail free card to take both him and whoever's trying to dive him into the Shadow Realm. And I think that's for the side of Rogue as well. If they can get that tether into Black Hole, allow this Terror to dive freely, this is going to be a pretty scary comp to deal with.
Yeah, for Team Immune, I think they have a few options as well how to play these team fights. I think the most important one is like how scary it is to actually walk into any dark spot on the map with something like a Morn close by, with the gadget, the Saris as well. And then if they actually don't get the objective set up, if they're not the first into the pit, then the Greystone can still get the entrance in as well. Has that second life with that Stoneforged Soul. So I think overall, I think both of these teams are actually pretty versatile in how they want to approach these fights.
And we can analyze it all we want. The only way to know for sure who is going to win is to get down onto Sanctuary. So we're going to send it over to E to the second power to F6 and Ego.
Gamers, welcome in to another day of Predecessor Play. It's E Squared, rocking with you. It's your main man, Ego, rocking alongside the man, the myth, the legend, F6. Are you ready for the games?
Yes, sir. I am more than ready. Ego, I'm excited, man. PCC is finally here. Summer is here, and I'm excited to see this game. This matchup is definitely going to be an interesting one, and this one is going to play out. It's going to be straight fun, straight just gas going to the battle.
Oh, most definitely, man. And as we are going to be making our way into the game, I have to say, this is a hell of a banger for us to start with. We are eating good here in Predecessor Esports as we have a well-decorated team and Team Immune coming across the pond in order to confront Rogue, a team that has consistently been placing within our top 8 but hasn't been able to really break that glass ceiling.
Just not quite yet. Like you said, we know they're a good team, definitely top 8, but they're first one of EU's best, or if the best team coming over from across that pond. Team Immune has won a PCC before in the early stages of our grassroots, so they know how to play over here against the NA teams. And this one is just going to come down to who can really control these objectives, get a nice tempo into this game, but I'm more than excited.
And how they play each other and the tempo, I think it's going to be a very important factor because EU and NA have very different metas. EU a little more accommodated to playing a slower paced game than turning up the heat, while over on the NA side, it's been constant combat. So I'm going to be looking at both of these teams and their junglers to see which one is going to be the pace setter.
Definitely gonna be trying out there. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I'm really good, but from my opinion, though, it's gonna be up to the Zarus. We know how oppressive Zarus is, especially looking into these elements of going to that Ascension. He's just gonna be able to kind of just scale throughout this game. But this dual lane, though, the advantage goes over towards Haru and Wangle. They completely counter what Penguin and F are trying to do with that Morn and with that TB. We know Revenant's damage is obscene right now, and the amount of CC and peel that the Steel can bring into this dual lane, as we're going to be able to see a little bit here, is really going to be that factor.
And this feels like a tale of the take, right, within this dual lane. Penguin may be looking to get something going here, but Haru and Wangle, between these two characters, are going to be able to play relatively comfortably as long as they don't get too far out of position. We know both of these junglers are liking to get active, as now the dual laners might be looking to replicate it. A brief exchange, but no real kill potential in the lane quite yet.
Not quite yet. And something there that we saw about another countermeasure to go against that TB is going to be that steel wall, especially when level 6 hits online. When TB's trying to really poke you out with that ventilate, putting up that steel wall, you're pretty much not doing anything for a little bit. We're going to slow the pace down, build off that duel, and focus onto that off lane. We're already seeing a reset coming out of that Greystone. He cannot really match up too well into that Guang already being pushed out. So something to keep an eye on over there on that end.
And I mean, if we do see Quag develop a lead, we know where he is with this augmentation, that he can do a lot of damage, being able to supplement some of his waves with rotations, maybe to a first Fang, a mini Prime, or even developing a kill lead here early. We could see STS Butters take over the game, but I mean, Morose is not just a one-of-a-kind solo laner. He's like an anchor, foreverly consistent. So I doubt that he's going to let STS Butters get a little bit too active without responding in kind.
Definitely not. Morose, a long-time veteran, like you pointed out. Butters, though, making his first appearance in the PCC, one of the up-and-comers that we've been seeing grow, not throughout just Twitch, but throughout the ranks team as well. And he's here to kind of make a statement. And if he's going to do so, it's going to be against Morose, the top off-laner side EU coming across that pond to really kind of showcase here to see what Butters is all about.
Now we're going to see a little bit of a trade as Morose was looking to leverage that advantage, but now it's going to be a counter engage coming from STS Butters. Morose going to be relatively low here. Blinky is going to be up, so if he really wants out, he'll be able to get it. But instead, he's going to just siege the gates here, reset underneath that tower, and maybe get a bit of a power spike while STS gets a push.
Already a good trade there. Going to be able to kind of just set himself apart, push up that lane. But the first Fangtooth is getting ready to spawn here, Ego, and the jungler's already showing sight over to that side of the map.
Yeah, man, you're going to just have to play along this left side, right? And with the pressure, I do have to give some degree of the advantage here to Team Immune. They're already going to be getting active, especially with Kante in the jungler. Last time I checked, the #1 ranked grinder, you know he's going to be getting in his reps as now. He's going to be making a play for Fox here in the mid.
Making a play indeed, looking for something, gonna try and possibly make a play, but it's not gonna be too much just quite yet. Still though, a little bit of play around this mid lane. Everybody's zoning. They know they can't let up in a neutral objective here early on. They know this game starts in the draft. Early game is definitely where you don't want to lose out, because we've already seen that in game number 2 there, where they just lose out the entire early game, and the late game is just even harder.
And this is kind of what separates Predecessor away from other MOBAs, right? This early game is so extremely crucial, especially when you're playing around some of these early objectives. Not even being able to threaten the 3-Fang Monty, but just being able to get that little bit of golden XP, as now Penguin is going to be rather separate from Neft here, but Warren, also very tanky. He's going to be able to weather some degree of the damage. Wangle, though, going to be looking for an engage, as Haru is going to be backing him up with the damage, but they're just going to let them walk as everyone congregates to the left.
Yeah, I mean, the ward there, just being able to like seek a little bit of that getting there. They knew they had to back up, getting poked out. It's a huge advantage going over towards Team Rogue there. They're able to kind of just push them back, take a reset, get some pressure off of that first Fangtooth, but level 6 is on the horizon. We know you can send somebody to the Netherrealm here, Revenant. That's going to be very crucial into taking out the jungler here. If he's able to use his ultimate on Revenant,
Haru is going to be a big game changer when it comes to securing the objective.
And onto the other side of Team Immune, though, they got some really strong tools to be able to discourage that, no? The microwave combo. Me and you, we've been in the esports game a little bit. We've seen it time and time again. You put down a big circle, and then you put down a bigger circle in that Tesla Dome that's going to be able to do a surplus of damage. If they can get the engage or force the other side and Rogue into a tight spot, we could see Team Immune start sieging up some of these objectives, as now mid lane might be under threat. Mancube's going to walk into a Steel Hero Bolt Rush. It's going to come out, but the speed gate is going to be able to dissuade any further aggression as Mancube gets out.
Yeah, not too much kill potential there. We see the rotation back into the lane. Wango just trying to get some damage off, but it's going to be Ben here to look for the first encounter here.
It's going to Penguin in a tough spot here. It's going to be 3 forcing the blink out, but with them so low, they're going to be able to take over the space of this Fang Pit.
Take the space, force out the blink on Penguin. They have a lot of advantage, but the disadvantage they have is that wave where we now see Rogue has to answer, so they can't really just push straight towards that first Fangtooth yet. This one's definitely a little bit of a slower, more methodical game coming from both ends. Nobody wants to drop down into that loser bracket here today, Ego, but still, they need to make a decision. The big thing now is they're going to be, the mini prime's going to be up. So they can look for a trade, or if they're able to get a good team wipe on one of these ends, to be able to get 2 objectives within one little team fight.
Zara's Conte here is going to be picked up on that right side ward before he's going to be able to deward it, now making his way back into that red side jungle. We are going to see all the pressure being maintained by Rogue here within this dual lane, and I'm going to be honest, if I'm Rogue, I'm kind of okay with this, at least at this stint, as STS Butter is going to be looking for a fight here with Morose. He's going to have the ulti up, and as such, he's just going to let him walk towards the Cyan.
Just not there to be able to capitalize on this Greystone. Once that level 6 hits, the Stoneforge Soul, even going to his passive, allowing for him just to regen health in lane, allows for him to take some significant trades into the Kwang. At this stage of the game, this is pretty much even unless a jungler shows up, or if they're just able to get a good trade. Butter's able to force that Stoneforge Soul out, being able to capitalize on the next time he returns back into that lane. So that one's going to be a little bit even state, but it's going to be this dual lane that's going to create some attention.
Wango on the back of the rotation. Penguin's going to have to run for the hills. We know he doesn't have a blink, as the follow-up damage is going to be good enough for the first blood.
Rotation
gets the kill. Ante, though, going to be following up the backside. Level 7. He's going to have access to the Coliseum, but the Bull Rush is going to be able to dissuade any degree of the damage. Wango looks like he's just ready to go down here, as he's going to be just creating space and buying time for his team to reposition onto the back. It's going to be Mancu who falls. Haru will be the one to be able to pick up the kill, as Conte's going to be forced to run for the hills. It's a 2-to-1 trade with Wango finally falling.
Man, he was able to buy some time there. We see the Coliseum pop, but able to create some space. They don't pick up the kill, but the advantage is going to be on side of a team Rogue. They're not able to quite pull the Fangtooth yet, but we're already seeing a kill lead onto their end. Yes, they got the support on Team Immune, but that's somebody that they're okay losing on the side of Team Rogue. Great team fight there, but this game's still so close, Ego. So close.
I'm going to be honest, man. If I'm Haru, I'm telling Wango to his face, brother, I would feed you to them 6 times to get me some kills. As now is looking, they just might do it. Vin use that Wild Rush to be able to get an engage. Penguin able to buy Neff just a little bit of space as the Highland Hurl is going to be barely offline. Neff ultimately is going to fall, though, as Penguin's going to be forced to reset underneath the T1, watching his carry go down.
Just couldn't do too much here. Haru needs to be careful, though. There is Conte near on by. One Spear near should be able to do the job.
Oh man, onto the backside, it's going to be Haru who just gets victimized. Spirit are going to be able to pick up that kill, as now Conte and the rest of Immune are going to be playing for the space, looking to lock down the inners of this pit.
Wong is coming over for the rotation, but it does look like on Team Immune they're coming in to help, but there's absolute banger going on. Butters picks up Mancu.
Over the top side, it's going to be Black Coat. Instantly, the CC is going to be able to knock him out of it. Fox, though, doing more than enough to dissuade Penguin, as it's going to be the opposition here. And Conte, who's going to have to face down the 3v1. Put him on a t-shirt. He got folded. Vin is going to fall. Neff now going to be playing the space over to the side, as they're going to turn their eyes towards Wangle to jump in order to try to get a kill on the back end. It's going to be Wangle with the ulti into a Boris that is going to be able to stifle a degree of the oppression. He's oh so close to death, but Morose is going to be coming back to life, as it's going to be a reset coming out of both of these squads. F6, the objective still hasn't been taken.
Ill stands indeed. Wangle cannot keep getting away with this, Ego. My man is living on 1 HP in a dream, but like you said, the Fangtooth is still up and at him. Just took too much time there for them to rotate. On the side of Rogue, they won the dual lane trade early on to be able to get the advantage, but Haru just didn't have enough HP. They didn't realize the rotation that could come in. Kante being up to pick up that kill early on. Then from then, it was just a sequence of one pick, one rotation back in, number trading throughout, and we're just still in this stalemate.
I think there's a verb for the action, you know, within the community that Wangle's been taking part in. He's wangling on him a little bit, man. Just barely able to survive, but provide a lot of value through steals and 8cc. And this is what you like out of this pick. All I need for you is to be level 6 Bull Rush and Shield Slam, and provide us a little bit of space so our damage healers can do the job. Eclipse is going to be utilized, though, as now Fox is going to be looking to rejoin his team. That Fangtooth going to be at about 3,000 HP, but Vin is going to be reascending off the backside. Penguin going to be dropped down on that threshold as Conte is going to be able to bring down the Counter Dome on top of it. Wangle is in the microwave, and that boy is cooking, but he's not going to be quite done yet. It's going to be an engage onto the backside as Neft is going to be able to easily pick up the kill. The team fight split into 2 pieces. It is going to be health bars broken into 2 as Fox is going to be at about that 50% threshold. STS Butters has entered the chat. Morose has made sure Haru left it. Epoch now going to be used in order to prevent some degree of the damage, but Vin is going to go down as Morose will be the one to pick up the double kill. The fight is rolling as now Fox, like the Autobots, is going to have to roll out.
They're gonna have to roll out indeed. What a split fight there, though, going into the advantage of Team Immune. They found their space. Gray being the one to be the one to first rotate was really the crucial part to that fight. He's able to put a lot of pressure onto that back line, being able to pick up Haru, take out their main DPS, and then from there on, Kwang was just a little bit too late. They weren't able to trade out that damage, and they are the ones to pick up that first Fangtooth.
Yeah, man, and, you know, much like a Dalmatian, I'm going to continue to put you on the spot here, F6. You pointed out that Haru was just a little bit too late to that rotation, but with the combination of that microwave and the innate dive capabilities of some of these characters, do you think that, as it stands, Team Immune has the sauce necessary in order to just take him out of the fight? You're not going to be able to answer that. Mini Prime dropped to 50% as now Rogue is rotating and looking for a fight.
They're looking for one indeed. They're waiting for that pickup, and there is that combo.
Black hole over the top, and Epoch is going to be able to mitigate a degree of the damage as it's going to be Wangle who sets up Butters for the kill. Morose, though, going to be able to get some true damage across as he's going to be able to use that Stone Forward Soul Vin. He's not made as tough stuff as Morose is going to be able to pick up a kill onto him yet again. And look at Fox on the back line. It's a spectator sport for the mid laner as he's just going to be watching his teammates fall left and right before he starts to get active. Morose now able to pick up the double onto Wangle. Penguin is going to be running for the hills as the heat is going to be turned up. It is going to be the charm into him, though, but STS looks like they're going to be able to easily enough pick up the kill. Instead, though, Fox will lock down a triple.
My goodness, these guys are in an all-out brawl here, Ego. We love to see it on the biggest stage possible, PCC, and here it is. And I'm going to ask you guys there at home, are you not entertained? These guys are neck and neck, one trade after the other. They're not giving up anything for free, and that is what we expect out of these comp players. Going into that engagement over the mini prime, it looks like Team Immune was like, yeah, we're confident in this pickup, but they're forgetting the amount of CC that is involved inside this Team Rogue comp. It's a 4v4 fight. Both ADCs are on side of that left lane, so it comes down to that mid lane damage, and they were able to get it on out. Stoneforge Soul was used, so it's going to have to be that solo lane of that Gray Stone. Going to have to be a little bit careful on Moreau's side.
Oh man, most definitely. Like, and as you said, the CC has just been such an abject piece of what has defined some of these team fights, especially when neither one of these carriers can get involved. Here with the Predecessor, especially after the changes in 1.6 farming became that much more important, and as such, we're going to see STS Butters still a little bit of that farm away from Morose.
Hey, that's my sign buff, okay?
The disrespect
that is what
is kind of
Butters is
egregious.
saying. It's actually crazy. A little bit of commotion going on in this right side jungle. Mini Prime is still in play, ladies and gentlemen. So we're seeing both of these teams kind of finding their space, looking for their opportunity for them to be able to go after this Mini Prime, but still nothing just quite yet. The map is just littered with vision, and anybody at any moment that makes the wrong move will not be able to contest.
And this is where NA aggression meets EU macro, right? NA is going to be looking for fights at every form of the map, but when these objectives are up, I mean, you best believe that Team Immune is going to match that intensity. Penguin going to be playing the space relatively close here alongside Conte, as this river looks like it might be blood red soon. It's going to be Rogue who takes the space for the pit first.
It's going to still be nice, though. Morose is just waiting for his ultimate to come back. He's going to be a little bit late to this fight, but already they're burning down this objective. 4K on that mini prime.
Doesn't look like Team Immune is just willing to give this up either. It's onto the backside. Wango is going to be able to open. It's not going to get any value out of it. Conte now playing the space behind the support. It's going to be able to lay down some solid damage. Coliseum is going to come down, but does he have the damage here to follow him up? Morose has entered the chat, and his answer looks like it's going to be yes. Neft going to be able to get the first kill here as the fight is going to be able to spill down onto the right side as TS, but his first play the space back as Finn is going to be knocked far. The double going over to Neft as he's leaving nothing left of this decimated row composition. It's going to be a reposition and a re-engage on the mini prime.
Team Immune just finding a way to win. Just unfortunate with that missed shield slam, trying to get the first engagement there on the side of Team Rogue, but they weren't able to connect. That gave enough time for them to get Morose back into that fight. They knew they didn't have the big shield slam tool to their name. They get the mini prime. They set themselves up with this tempo momentum to go after the second feint tooth of the game. Team Rogue, they're going to have to find a way to get in. They did use a lot of resources, a lot of blinks down. Can they make it happen?
I mean, I think they can, but the bigger question for me is, do they even want to? All of these team fights up to this point, they've obviously lost, and I think the definition of insanity, correct me if I'm wrong, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So this time, they're just going to let this objective go, raid the enemy side jungle, try to steal away a degree of that farm, and get themselves in a better position for the long and late game.
And that is something that they kind of had to do, like you pointed out, right? You kind of just don't want to keep losing these objective fights. Yes, you lose the objective, but at least try and gain something else across the map. And you're seeing them utilize the enemy's red jungle here to at least get that XP and get some gold back. But it's going to be Ven that needs to be a little bit careful. The Kwong is here to support, though. The T1 goes down, and it looks like Team Rogue are finding some advantages all across the map to keep themselves into this game.
I just want to like expand on what you said, right? Because I couldn't agree with it anymore. If you lose something at this degree of play, you have to be able to get something back. And, you know, getting $20 on Rogue's part, that feels pretty good. Taking $20 from Team Immune feels even better because it helps to balance out those scales, especially when your goal is going to be to progress here into that mid to late game. Revenant, Haru doing a pretty solid job so far. We know at a point, like a light switch, he's going to come alive, and I'm going to need to see Team Immune be ready for it when it inevitably happens.
That's going to be a rough one, right? Like, tell me if you've already seen this before, right? You're in your match and you're just playing, and here comes a Revenant into that mid to late game. You're like, wait, he can't kill me. I have a lead, but he 2 to 3 shots you, and you're just not able to really do too much. So that's going to be something that Team Immune is going to have to realize. They're going to have to shut that down. Good thing they have a lot of CC on their side, and they're going to be able to try and find a way to keep him out of this fight.
I'm going to be honest, man. You asked, have I heard it before? The answer is going to be no, man. I'm not in copper. I'm barely in aluminum tier in my ranked games currently. My revs aren't hitting the shots, but Haru, he's a different breed. Neft, he's a superior breed, some would say. This is actually a very entertaining matchup between these two carries, but as not only you, but DJ coming out of the desk said, when that Reckoning comes online and that 4-shot damage is there, the entire dynamic of a lot of these fights is going to change.
Not just a dynamic, but your health bar and how it feels in that situation. You're just going to be like, man, I thought I was a tank, but in front of this Revenant, you are not. They're still biding their time, though. The T1 is already down in their lane, so they can't play too aggressive when it comes to that side of the map. One of the big things we talked about earlier on, though, is that offlane. They're in an even matchup currently, and they're still at that state. We've already seen their impacts throughout all of these objective fights. But Rose currently, though, we're seeing his experience, who he needs to focus into those fights, and he's been doing it very well. We're still waiting for Kwong, though, to really set some tone for the side of Team Rogue. If he's able to do that, Team Rogue can at least try to push themselves back into a better position. But hear me out here. That third Fang Tooth fight is something just going to have to live up to.
Dude, that three-fang Monty is just so crucial, especially within this competitive scene, right? Because both teams are not going to be willing to just give it up. Being able to get that plus 8% to your armor as well as your power can define a game as over into that dual lane. It looks like we have a little bit of a scramble looking to get Pryo on that side of the map. Actually, it's Butters going to be looking to play into Morose here, who is not interested in a fight Finn on the rotation and a bull rush to be able to follow it up. It's going to be looking for Penguin. Sadly, the aggression isn't going to find contact.
Just not enough. You see on the side of Team Rogue, they're pushing out that dual lane, but also in the mid lane, they're pressuring out that Gideon, man. They did not want him to push up at all. And like you said, both teams fighting for the ability to control that side of the map. They know they're going to need to be able to contest that third Fang Tooth, but we're in a weird position here to where, do you go for the third Fang Tooth on Team Immune, or do you pressure that Ore Prime as well? And I think they're doing a good job of utilizing and just creating pressure through that mid, but they're going to need to get their vision up. Right now, you can't really see too much on that big Prime, and they need to get some vision down that way. So at least if they choose the route of going for that Monty that we do know that goes into that late game, they can make a response and an action towards that decision.
Most definitely, man, and that by definition is why Pryo was so important. All Pryo means is that you have the opportunity to make the first move, right? And in moments like this, that is why it is so crucial. You can see STS Butters going to be lagging behind just a little bit because Morose did get Pryo in that lane, and now Kwong is going to have to respond to it. We could see Butters possibly get caught out here, but it looks like instead there may be a fight brewing here on the river.
The advantage in that off lane, though, is going to go towards the side of Team Rogue. That lane is slowly pushing towards that T2. It's going to take about 2 to 3 waves, but they still don't have to worry about it for a time being. The third Fang Tooth should be their attention. The side on Team Immune, though, they're going to have to answer that. As long as Team Rogue be able to buy some time here, that's going to be to their advantage to be able to play into the third Fang Tooth.
And as we said before, look at STS Butters. He's going to be forced to expend some key utility here as his blink is going to come down, but off the backside, it is going to be a wild rush, but let's be honest, that's a Greystone. Tesla Dome is going to be coming down, though, as Kante is going to put Haru down. That's going to be the carry who's no longer in this team fight. Wangle now going to be looking around about and connect with Vin as Man-Q locks down Butters. This is just going to be a 2-0 trade that blatantly favors TI.
And it does indeed. Ven's gonna have to try and make a play here, but the zoning tool out of Team Immune is ridiculous with that gadget and Morn. There's not a lot of way to enter here, and they now seem to turn that fight, and Fox picks up in time.
Morose with yet another shutdown kill here, and he's gonna be able to force it. Be able to secure that 3-Fang Monty, a plus 8% to their armor as well as their power. It's gonna put them in an incredible position here at 24 minutes in.
They're powerful right now. They are so powerful. They have the kill lead. They have the objective lead. And throughout this entire game, they've pretty much been taking the right trades. Earlier on, what we saw was a very close matchup, great trades coming out of both teams, but Team Immune is showing a little bit more of their experience and their veterancy going in towards the PCC. We're seeing them bring that knowledge into this game. They're controlling the objectives and making sure that their momentum is theirs, and they're able to push whatever thing and whatever fight that they seem necessary.
I'm going to go ahead and bring us to a little bit of a bring back here before this prime starts getting rolling. Something the real eSquare fans is going to remember. F6, that striped shirt looking good, a gold whistle looking awesome. If you were in the coaching position for this team in a Rogue, what would you be telling them to do to retake control of this game?
Fight back. No, I'm playing. I mean,
Put your hands up.
they just gotta find an opportunity here. They need to look for a pick as they look to seem to look going towards this Morose. But look at Team Immune. They're on their way over.
Hey, man, they heard you. They started fighting back, and now they might get punished for a count. They're going to come down with the Coliseum as it is going to be that Stone Force hold that's going to be able to translate some of the true damage to the top. The Wangle is going to look for the he will find it, but Neff is going to look for Vin, and Vin is going to find his way home. Brother got annihilated. It's going to be another 2-0 trade for Team Immune.
Yeah, I meant fight back by getting a pick, not getting picked yourself. They pick up 2, but more importantly, they're able to pick up the jungler on the side of Team Rogue. That hunt is down. They have that third Fang Tooth Monty looking for the big prime. Team Immune is just playing lights out. pulling no punches.
Dude, they just crossed the pond to have the honor of drowning Rogue beneath the damage. The setup has just been too good, and with all the utility that we have been seeing get used on Morose, there's just not enough results coming through in exchange for it, right? Morose on this Greystone pick is more than happy to just take the 2v1, and when you're done beating us up, like, he's basically got the Avengers rolling in behind him. Rogue needs to be able to reposition and get a pick on maybe Neft, this Gadget, even Conte coming out of the jungle. Something has to change.
It's just so hard though, Ego, right? You think you have the advantage with that steal, but here comes this late game Gadget with an exceptional lead. The amount of damage and peel she's able to utilize, not only with her security gate, but with that Tesla Dome. We think that as the ultimate disengage tool into this game, and this hero has it all. And with the aggression coming out of Morose and that Zarus, Conte is just playing exceptionally well, knowing the picks he needs to go for. They're just locking down targets after target.
And right now, Rogue just isn't really able to stand up to it, right? Morose being able to split the wave is not going to be putting pressure on that right side in him, which is going to be able to fall. And Engage, though, coming on Morose onto the back end with the Tethodome to be able to follow it up is going to force not one, but three members to back up. However, I don't know if it's going to be Wango who is spared, as the Ventilate is going to come out, and it's going to be this team and Team Immune who shuts them into their core. That's going to be a double for Neft, as it's going to just be Vid and Butters looking to put on a hero tactic display. But they got minions, they got damage, and right now it looks like Team Immune got game one in the bag.
And they do secure it there, Ego. What a kind of tail sign from Team Immune saying, hey, we are not NA, but we are here to play. Great, exceptional all-around play coming in from Team Immune. They control the objectives. They control the tempo of the game. They did not let Team Rogue find any opportunities inside that matchup. And from that point on, they just knew what they needed to go after. And once again, Team Immune is at the top.
That kind of felt like a classic EU game, right? As you said, they just controlled every facet of the game, early, mid, and late, and they were able to close out in convincing fashion. It is going to have to be Rogue who makes some changes to either their composition or their game plan. That being said, I'm excited to see what comes next, but not as excited as I am to see what the desk has to say as we send it back to them.
A thank you very much, Ego and F6, for that wonderful commentary. Team Immune proves that ping is no thing, and they take game one in this series. TJ, what'd you see?
Well, I saw, as Ego and F6 were saying, it was a control coming out from Team Immune throughout this game. They were able just to leverage their advantages. They were able to get those neutral objectives and ultimately just build themselves up slowly. Bit of a slow burn game, but still, Team Immune looking good.
Slow burn is a really good way to say it, because the first objective took so long until it was actually taken. I think we had the crests already available. I think that was where one of those outplays happened there as well. So definitely Team Immune controlling the pace of the game, not giving Rogue anything to accelerate the game forward.
But this is a best of three series. We are in the winner's bracket, round 3. What can Rogue do to save this series and stay on the winner's side?
So I think the main thing for Rogue here is to really try and play on their own tempo, try and play on their own games as well. Do not let Team Immune get any control of this game, because once they have those advantages, once they have those leads, they don't look like they're letting go. So throw a bit of chaos in there, throw a few curveballs, and try and catch Team Immune off guard. I think that's probably Rogue's best shot in game 2.
Yeah, I think what they should also look for, I think, for Rogue, they had a few moments where they were actually in a prime position to get the Fang Tooth, to get the mini prime, but they were so indecisive, never really springing the trap, always going for the 100% play, always going for the turn, instead of just flipping it sometimes. A 60% play in an even game state is still gonna mean that you're winning in the grand scheme of things. So for Rogue, I think it's time to sort of lock in. They definitely have it in the bag if they put their minds to it. I wouldn't be super worried as a Rogue fan, but at the same time, this Immune roster as well, looking hot.
They are looking hot indeed, and we'll have to see if they're able to make those adjustments that we are talking about for game 2, or if it will be the last day of PCC Summer Prelims Day 1. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with the action.
The time has come, champions. The mythical trickster has finally come home. Prepare for chaos. Wukong is coming to Predecessor. Wukong is an agile, elusive, and deadly fighter whose fate was forever twisted after learning the true nature of his beloved teacher, Feng Mao. Now at odds with his mentor and on the run, Wukong's path leads him back to where it all started, to face his greatest challenge and clear his name. Wukong's ultimate ability is 84,000 hairs, and it's unlike any other ultimate in the game. Rather than being a single powerful move, this ability instantly switches between his spirit and body stances. Depending on which stance he's in, Wukong's primary, secondary, and alternate abilities will all have completely different effects and cooldowns, making him our most versatile hero to date. One who's hard to master, but devastating in the hands of anyone who can expertly switch stances to set up incredible combos. Wukong also has access to his ultimate from level 1, and it comes with a powerful passive. Every time Wukong damages an enemy, he gains a stack of hair. At 5 stacks, a clone is summoned and the stack resets. Wukong can have up to 2 clones at once, increasing to a max of 5 as he levels up. The clones attack your enemies too, so try to stack them up before diving in for maximum damage. Wukong's primary ability in Spirit Stance is Cloud Walker, where he summons a cluster of clouds beneath his feet for a short duration. Wukong can walk freely along the clouds in any direction, enabling him to traverse terrain of all kinds to seamlessly maneuver around the battlefield. In Body Stance, this ability switches to Pole Vault, where Wukong launches himself in a direction of his choice and gains extra attack speed for a short duration. Both of these abilities synergize incredibly well with Wukong's secondary ability in Body Stance, which is High Impact, where Wukong crashes down to the ground with his mighty staff, dealing physical damage to all enemies in the vicinity. The longer he falls, the more damage it deals, up to a limit. So combining this with Cloud Walker or Pole Vault is a great way to maximize his damage output. In Spirit Stance, Wukong's secondary ability becomes Cycle Breaker, where he spins his staff at ferocious speeds, destroying incoming projectiles while granting extra damage reduction for a short period of time. Then he hurls his staff forward, dealing magical damage and stunning the first enemy it hits.
Come back when you're ready to fight.
Wind Surge is Wukong's alternate ability in Spirit Stance, where he dashes forward, piercing through enemies, dealing physical damage and slowing them briefly. In Body Stance, this ability changes to Force Push, where Wukong drives his staff forward, pushing all enemies away, dealing physical damage and slowing them for a moment. This ability is great for creating distance, or when used at the right time, countering enemy abilities by shoving them out of range. Wukong's passive ability is Somersault, which enables him to jump again in mid-air to perform a double jump. Not only does this give Wukong an impressive amount of mobility, but it also combines perfectly with Cloud Walker and High Impact. Try using Cloud Walker to run up into the air, double jump with his passive, and slam to the ground for maximum damage with High Impact. Items that grant Wukong ability haste and physical power are great for enabling him to use his abundance of abilities faster. So try building into items like Augmentation and Basilisk to help reduce cooldowns and maximize your uptime on key abilities. The faster he cycles through his kit, the more pressure he can apply. Become the legend with Wukong. Coming to Predecessor on Xbox, PlayStation.
Welcome back in, everybody. PCC NA Summer Prelims. We are potentially on our last game of day one between Team Immune and Team Rogue. TJ, welcome back to the desk. Do we expect to see anything different in game two?
Well, hopefully it might be maybe speeding things along a little bit. I mean, I said it was a very slow burn of a game, honestly, and there is a little bit of ping difference there, but it turns out for our friends over in EU, there was a delay in actually starting to play the game, right? It was such a slow early game from both of these teams here, so honestly, that's just change that. I think we should be good.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I just slid into their DMs. I told them, okay, Fangtooth spawns at 5 minutes. Mini Prime spawns at 7 minutes. I think Neft, Venom, all of them should know now. So I think in that second game, we're going to have a bit of a faster early game, hopefully. And I really want to see both of these teams sort of capitalize on the advantages in the early game to leverage it into getting those objectives, because that's exactly what we have not seen in this first game.
I don't believe you, Tang. I think we're also going to have a slow start to this game, but we do have our picks and bans ready to get into. Will we see a change up in the early bans from Draft 1?
Oh, okay. So with the bans, I don't think we changed too much. I don't think there was anything that was kind of screaming out to me, oh, OMG, we need to ban this out. The Greystone potentially being up, maybe a factor to be considered. The Wukong still being taken away, as Tang so eloquently puts it before as well, is that Wukong has been playing a lot in scrims. There's a lot of just kind of respect shown towards it. That's why it's not going to be shown here once again. But I don't think they need to change too much. I think this is just mostly playstyle.
Mostly playstyle. I think you mentioned the Greystone. I think the Saras could be one of those picks to be banned away as well. I think the content that Sarah is always able to dive into the backline, and then I think we saw it in this game quite well, right? The Tesla Dome together with that Colosseum wreaked a lot of havoc in that last game. But so far, we are just gonna see the same bans coming in. The Seraph being banned away, the Iggy not making its appearance quite yet. Greystone finally gonna open up this offlane pool a bit more. Gonna make sure that Morose is actually, it's gonna be Immune banning that away, so it's actually gonna go onto Rogue that they are not able to pick up the Greystone for themselves.
Yeah, don't want to first pick that. Morose may not have the answer in his pocket for that Greystone. First pick coming through from Rogue here, and a lot is available to him. They can go that ADC route, or they can rinse and repeat, pick up that steal for Wangle again.
And very much like before, it's a surprising one. I probably think there's more priority picks here available for you. Steel as itself is like, it's just such a good flex pick. So obviously you're not showing your hand too early, kind of inviting Immune to get some heroes on the board first before they do. But the problem is though, right, is that you run the risk of this happening as well. Like the Gadgets Colosseum into Tesla Dome was so much of a problem in Immune. It's like, run it back, run it back.
And we saw that Mankyo on that gadget, right? Like he got ganked quite a bit in the early game, but it didn't really matter with that AP stacking that she has in her base kit. She is doing fine as long as she stays relevant to the game. The Fang ban this time around is not going to come in time, with it being picked up for this Rogue squad, most likely gonna be in the Venom's hand, and the Sevrog as well being picked up. So a lot of bruisers, a lot of tanks now in this Rogue roster.
Yeah, Rogue picking up a beefy frontline for themselves. We'll have to see if Immune goes the route of getting some shred. They already have that from the Tesla Dome, but they're going to pick the Twin Blast up.
Yeah, Twin Blast taken away just before that next ban phase as well. So now Immune hitting that ADC pool as well. Get the Sparrow out of there. Force Rogue away from some of the high DPS busted ADCs as well. They still have options though. Kira, Murdoch, Drongo could all be played into the situation. Rogue respectfully taking off the Morn from Penguin as well. So we're seeing a little bit of adaptation from game number 1, but nothing too crazy just yet.
Yeah, not yet. I think the Morn was quite a problem actually on that lane on the left-hand side beforehand. I think Penguin, one of those players that has a very wide champion pool, but realistically you don't really want to pick the Richter into a steal. It's going to be forced to pick it regardless. Could still be flexed into the jungle role, of course. That is going to go over to the side of Immune. I think at the moment, those melee supports are actually proving their worth quite a bit. We've seen sort of the tendency of teams to pick them over those range supports.
And we're going to cap the draft off for Team Rogue with the Skylar and the Argus. How does this affect that composition they're building?
So with this right now, it's purely for safety, right? So you've got your frontline secured. You've got your engaged support sorted. So now it's like, okay, what about our ADC, right? Because you got to deal with opposing threats as well. What if the front line falls? What if the engage doesn't work out? Take a Skylar, aerial assaults, gets you out of that Colosseum, could get you out of the firing line of that Twin Blast as well. Argus on top, Ether Crystal can throw down that little bit of wall, buy some time here. So I really like this approach here by Rogue, just to go for safety rather than just kind of keep putting all their eggs into that high progressive basket.
Terra gonna be picked up by Immune to finish up their draft as well. And yeah, as TJ was saying, right, like this looks like Team Immune, they kind of picked the same stuff as they did in that last game, only the Terra is different, but and the Richter of course. But for Rogue, it's gonna be a whole different story because they don't have sort of a team that wants to go into them, and they have so many tools to escape the Colosseum with the Steel being able to bull rush out, the Sevrog knocking the Ceres out of the cage, right? The Argus as well doing the same, right? And yeah, Fang Mao dashing out, right? So I really like the draft adaptation coming out of this Rogue squad.
I am a fan of it as well. However, it is time to get down onto the map and settle what it is as we get serenaded by the sweet sounds of F6 Inigo.
Gamers, welcome back, welcome back. Backs against the wall here for Rogue, as they are going to be one game down to Team Immune, who took game 1 in convincing fashion. It's E-Squared hanging out with you on another PCC day. Excellent predecessor play ready for you. F6, are you ready for the game?
I'm excited, man. We're here again. Game number 2, like you said, Rogue backs against the wall. But I mean, I don't know. This team comp is looking a little bit more spice, a little bit more in my favor here for them to be able to come out on top. We're seeing a little bit more of a rerun here when it comes to that Coliseum Tesla Dome combo coming out of Team Immune, but we might have something on their hands here. Butters piling that Sevrog, something I think is going to be a little bit more impactful going towards those team fights against those objectives.
I mean, I think it's literally going to be more impactful, right, with that colossal blow, but I do kind of have to agree with you. I like to be the, contrarian at times, but right now, this composition for Rogue just looks really solid. Like Tang said, coming out of the desk, they just have so many ways to get out of the best thing that TI has going forward. That's going to be that microwave combo between Gadget and Zarus.
You're just going to have to play around it, but they're going to have to make sure they get that cage out of there. They're going to have to execute, and that's really the name of the game here for Team Rogue on game number 2. Execution is key. They cannot let Team Immune just run away with the game and play their own style coming over here to your battlegrounds. But we have a lot of time to see how this one plays out, Ego. The more question I have for you, man, is what team comp are you favoring heading into this game, especially if you look at it all around?
There ain't no way you just did my thing that okay. I'm gonna be honest. I really do like Team Immune's team composition if they're allowed to play like Stardew Valley, right? A lot of farming within this early game. I like Rogue's composition more if they're on a more of a Tetris angle. Square up. Everyone needs to be fighting, looking for picks, and then establishing an early lead. And kind of depending on which one of these compositions able to get what they want, I kind of can go either way, but I'm not going to go halfsy. I'm going to just say it. I like Rogue's comp just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more, but
Eating
that
my
Whiplash
words
says otherwise. Good thing they have the wave advantage on Team Rogue to not be able to get punished too much. Penguin, the man showing a little bit of life, a little bit of squirrel though, but hold on, this mid lane, Fox looking like he's in trouble.
Dude, he's going to be forced to utilize the blink here. Aether Crystal is going to come out onto the back end. Conte is going to be able to get the kill. And like I said, I like Team Immune's composition a lot more in this game too.
Like you said, great job there. First blood, ladies and gentlemen. Put them on the board as they're able to execute that. Team Immune starting hot, using the momentum from game 1 into game 2 already. We've seen some life. Whiplash out of nowhere. First blood to their name, but still a lot of Predecessor left.
Oh man, most definitely here, right? And we know that Rogue has been a little bit of a get-back team, being able to, in other competitive circuits, come back in the past to steal positions away where, I'll be honest, they had no right winning, but that's what the best players do. They always give themselves a chance. And right now, we need to see Rogue play their best to push us into a game 3.
Oh man, I know the crowd wants to see a game 3. We want to see a game 3 because we're all about the Predecessor gameplay here, and we want to see the best and the best at it. It's going to take a little bit more time to tell out here, but Rose feeling a little bit more comfortable against the Sevarok. The Sev doesn't have too much trade into this Terra. We know that enhanced Qs just allows for her to bully the Sev, and with that Mutilator coming in more than likely for that first item, she should be able to keep this Sev on the background. And I think that's going to play an important part, Ego, to like what we were talking about. If this Sev rotates, he's going to be a big problem, especially with that Colossal Blow. But if he's not able to, if he's pushed back, has to answer those minion waves, he's not going to be able to play into those team fights. And that is how Team Immune is going to try to look to get that advantage over towards him.
And it's so tough, right? Because STS Butters is a fantastic player, but all in all, comparably, he is a little bit newer to games of such high stakes. Morose, he's been here before. He lives for moments like these. That being said, STS Butters has to shine right now. He's going to have to overcome this seasoned veteran player and be one of the defining reasons this team Rogue is going to be able to get an advantage if they get any advantages at all.
Looking for the advantages, right? We've heard that before. And you're going to hear it the entire time for BCC because that is what we do here with these comp plays. That's how they make these game winners moments. You look for the advantages and you take advantage of them. But it's going to be down here. Still junglers not really make too much impact. We saw that early gank to be able to get that first blood. Still just nothing quite yet, as it does look like Delgante looking for something else back into there. But Fox is going to be smart to get himself back a little bit towards his Fang Mount to be able to get some trades in. First Fang Tooth is up. We're looking for an advantage here. Mid lane still even. Dual lane still even. Both of these teams just trying to find that mark.
Fox doing a really solid job as well, right? Just being able to hold on to that blink in the early game, because even though you have that little bit of mobility that does come from that Aether Crystal, if you lose that blink early, you know with Conte's aggressive playstyle, especially leaning on the mid, that you're going to be in for a terrible time. So solid job on him, just positioning, farming relatively safely, and trying to migrate himself up to that level 9 where he's going to be able to help burn through some of these objectives with the Particle Shredder.
That thing is no joke. I mean, back to that blink as well. If he burns his blink within that first minute of the game, he's not going to have it up for that first Faint Tooth contestation. And we already seen how important it is to control these objectives. And you want to be able to at least fight a little bit more into it. So I think he's going to be able to be just okay as long as he doesn't give anything else over. That gadget is going to take some time to scale Ego. Yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. You can ask Lance. It hurts a little bit in the early game because you're just, man, where's my damage? But once he gets in that mid game, he's going to be a menace. So as long as they're able to keep that safe farm, he should be able to trade well into them. Hopefully, they could find the picks before that Tesla Dome and Coliseum is released.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. This might be my last PCC cast because the words I'm about to say, as a certified gadget hater, the damage should be even lower late game. I mean, the disrespect coming out of this character, Manq, in about 8 minutes is going to be able to click R and release Chernobyl onto some poor character within Sanctuary. And that is why you play the character, right? To be able to scale to these moments, as looks like in a moment we may have a fight coming off this Argus rotation.
They're going to be smart here. Look at that. It's going to be mini prime that the team Immune chooses to take first, trying to get the advantage and keep it into that off lane. They're going to give up prior though for the first Fang Tooth, but you can already see the contention here putting pressure on that Sevarog, and now this opens up to get the timers for that red side. First Fang Tooth goes over towards Team Rogue. Going to be the first mini prime over towards Team Immune, and still just looking for that opening.
Kiddos, please look closely at what you just saw on the map, especially for my fellow brethren within wood rank. This is why vision is so incredibly important. We saw both teams being able to migrate over towards these objectives the moment one stepped onto one of the wards, as now it looks like over into that left lane, we might see Conte stepping on business a little bit, as it's going to be an invade onto the 3, but Wangle is going to be playing the space off of the back in what is looking like a 2v3 that Vin wants no part of.
No part of indeed, but look at the control that they have. Conte knows he's ready. He's going to pressure this blue buff. Dual lane can't contest because that lane is pushed in, but this looks like a contestant for that blue buff.
Off to the backside, it's going to be Vin on the engage, but the Blast Fire is going to be able to split it up. Wango now going to have to reset over onto the back end, as this grouping of Team Immune is just going to be too much for this squad to really stand up against. They rather play it slow, let themselves be tempoed, and ultimately Vin is still going to get the blue.
Yo, Ego, that's a lot of work for just a 3 camp. I mean,
Man.
They pressured out, but they still were not able to get the blue buff. But still, you could already see the confidence from Team Immune. They know they have a game to give away. They're not going to release any pressure from Team Rogue, but they're going to say, hey, you're going to have to fight for this game number 3. And so far, they're being successful. Morose, though, having a field day inside that off lane. I cannot wait to see what this man does with this mini or prime. If he's able to get as much as 2 to 3 plates off this T1, that creates such an advantage early on into the game, especially with that second Fang 2 spawning within the next 2 to 3 minutes.
F6, man, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. 100 pennies, 10 dimes, 20 or so nickels, some would say. That 3 camp invade was about sending a text, dude. They just wanted to get the message across that we are going to be playing aggressively into you all throughout the game. And Rogue kind of just backed out. They were like, hey, we stand to lose more than a 3 camp here. Let's not risk it. Let's get our, selves comfortable within the mid game when we have Butters more included, when he has those shoulders a little bit bigger, and start taking wins there. Until then, it does look like TI is comfortable within this early game.
Very comfortable indeed. I'm going to go back to your point here, waiting for Butters to make that impact on the map. Yes, time is going to be on their side, but still, he's a level behind right now, so it's not going to be as impactful as we really want it to be, especially how Team Rogues wants it to be. But as long as he's able to provide some CC, create some peel, some separation from Team Immune, especially to that Tesla Dome, into that Coliseum that we talk about so much, and we're going to have to watch for on the side of Team Immune, that is when he's going to do his best jobs. Be that tank, be that beef on this platter for them on Team Rogue to be able to find and execute a play.
And he has plenty of follow-up, right? Haru is an extremely solid carry within the league. Fox, a more than competent mid laner who's been making strides within the PCC on the several teams he's been on. And Wangle, I mean, he's a vet. He's a professional at this point. And if they're able to kind of wrangle some of the nerves, compose themselves, I have no doubt that we could see ourselves get pushed into a game 3.
Man, I'm excited here, but it's not excited as Ven as he looks to be able to take a trade. Nice little poke there. Earthshatter is up though, Ego.
Tough position against Earthshatter. Is going to be able to land the knockup. It's going to be good onto the backside. Atomizer's going to turn that man into particles. Penguin going to fall as Haru picks up the kill.
Oh man, and Conte looking for some back for blood type of temptation here, but he needs to be careful. He's going to be in a disadvantage. He does not have his support. Meanwhile, Wangle providing some CC, but the damage just not quite behind him yet.
Yeah, Wangle just going to be able to play this space a little bit, right? Force Conte to respect this jungle a lot more than they did a few minutes ago. Throw 3 camp up for him to go and try to take on this roundabout, but the kills are going to be evened up despite the objective lead still going to be also neutral, but overall, as we scale into the late game, I would say favoring Rogue with that first Fang Tooth.
Oh man, it's going to be an exciting time once everybody starts to play for these objectives. We're just into that moment of a little bit of a lullaby here, kind of greatly rocking you back and forth, getting you ready for the big day that's about to happen. But still though, the pressure is going to come down to the second Fang Tooth. We're seeing both offlaners take a reset, and this is really key to both of these teams trying to get this objective. Then though, Earthshatter is down, so he's not going to be able to have that to help clean up on some of these kills. Maybe if they buy enough time, play around that objective, he's going to have that up to maybe get Rogue into a nice little lead going into this mid-to-late game.
Yeah, and I mean, playing with the lead, the way this team plays overall completely changes. But now we're going to see this Fangtooth pit get played with us. The space does get locked down here by Team Immune. The fight is going to break out onto the backside. It's going to be a bull rush onto one. But with the Subjugate coming through, it's going to be the support here in a bad position until the Skewer comes out and the Coliseum comes down. Those brothers are gold as he gets knocked out of the team fight with Colossal Blow. It is going to be an engage onto the backside, but STS Butters is going to get melted in the frying pot of damage coming from Man Q. Just a 2-0 trade so cleanly coming out of Immune here.
Man, what a fight from Team Immune. Richter just seems like he does not want to die. Penguin's here to play. He's able to take so many resources away from Team Rogue there. They still weren't able to kill him. They did take away his blink though, but all said and done, it's going to be Team Immune. They take the double kill there. They're up on the kill lead. They take the Fangtooth. That's a second objective of the game, and now looking for the third. I mean, my goodness. But it's going to be Team Rogue who makes that counter capitalization. They rotated quick enough to be able to capitalize on it before Team Immune can get themselves together. So far, kill lead towards Team Immune, and they have the tempo written to their favor. Rogue just still has to fight back.
I do agree with you there, man. I kind of want to emphasize on something that you did just mention here, right? I'm going to propose a name change to Team Immune. I know the name has a lot of accolades approach to it, but Alphabet Boys really represents the way they capitalize on every misplay you make. Anything as small as missing the bull rush onto two and only being able to clip one, we saw relegated to Wango to a not as good position within that fight around the Fangtooth that ultimately led to Team Immune once again being able to extend out the lead. And this is what the best teams do, right? Time and time again, we say it. The only thing you're guaranteed is the early, but once you have that lead, teams like Team Immune don't drop it.
And we talked about it in game number one, right, Hugo? I'm pretty sure we mentioned it. Yeah, I mean, Team Immune is a veteran team. They're probably the longest lasting team besides D-Lab here inside PCC. These guys know this game. They're always competitors. They're missing a little bit of their strong suit of empty, but they're still able to capitalize here, picking up ManQ to be able to thrive inside of the Sanctuary, and we're seeing it here once again today. Team Rogue, though, in this game number two, I'm going to tell you, here you go, they're looking a lot better from game number one. They're slowing down the tempo, not making kind of Team Immune play their own game. They're still a little bit behind of keeping up with them, but they're managing a lot better going into it.
Yeah, most definitely. And a large part of this does come from them getting trades right. And a part of them getting some of these trades is, like you said in game one, they're actually kind of fighting back around some of these objectives, but also still maintaining playing the way they want and playing slow to allow themselves to scale. As now, Haru going to be forced to utilize the blink as the Coliseum does come down. Looking to get a little bit of damage through. He won't, but that is going to be a key piece of utility lost here for the carry.
Oh man, and Team Immune had that advantage, right? Because who picked up that mini prime? It's going to be the steal. A little bit unfortunate for the side of Team Rogue when it comes to who gets the mini prime. So he has to stay in that mid lane to kind of create some pressure, because that's the best spot for him to be. If they're able to take down that middle T1, they open this map up so much for their side, but they are looking for something. Stun does hit. They don't really have any like range engagement like the Richter hook, so not too much damage able to be traded. But still, they're not finding value in this mini prime, and that's what's bad about them being able to put it on the support.
Yeah, man, and it's just the lack of value they've been able to find in some of the earlier picks. We can rewind further back in time to game one and some of the exchanges and some of these scrambles we saw around these objectives. We just need to see this team just get a little bit more, not a lot, not 20%, not 30, just get 8 to 10% more out of some of these engages, team fights, objectives. And I think that we could see them actually be in the dominant position. But a part of what the problem is Team Immune just hasn't really been giving it to them, being able to call the cavalry, backing up that T1, so there is no possibility of steal, being able to build off of that prime play. Rogue is just overall in a tough position.
I mean, tough position, right? It's just you just gotta try and fight back into it, man. And they're, like I said, they're doing an okay job into it here today, but they need to still find an advantage. Butters, though, 17 minutes, full stacks on. He's going to be a problem, like we've mentioned several times early on. You're already seeing how well he's now being able to fight back against this Terra, who has such a early game advantage against that Severov.
Oh, yeah, and he's been playing into it really solidly, right? Being able to get those full stacks by 17 does not only open him up to be a little bit more aggressive into the Terra, but also to be able to contribute more into these rotational team fights. Maybe he catches someone out on a river, they're playing space around the pit, or they're trying to push down one of these T1 towers. There's a lot of places where the Sephiroth isn't just good, but invaluable to what Rogue is going to want to do, but he just needs to be in position to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be in the right positions to be able to make those plays. Fox being in the right position away from that Riplash. But it's that third Fang Tooth you're seeing Team Immune right now, creating so much pressure in the mid-4. They want to get that advantage, but Rogue is not trying to let them.
Hey, Dreadnova is going to hit a quick reposition. It's going to be able to avoid that drag back that comes out of that Aether Crystal, as now Conte and Minkyu are going to actually be resetting back into their red side jungle. But this is a grouping. I'm looking for a 5-on-5 on the Fang Tooth.
Oh, man, you can already feel the tension here. You go. Both of these teams know how important it is to get at least one step closer to that third Fang Tooth Monty. Luckily, there's nobody going to be really available to get it just quite yet. But to be able to get that advantage, especially with Big Orb Prime around the corner, is going to be impactful for those rotations with the movement speed.
Most definitely. And now it is going to be Morose, Minkyu, Conte all starting it on the back. And it's going to be Penguin looking to play the space as the engage is going to be coming out of Rogue on the backside. It is going to be the Bull Rush into 2, but with no damage to be able to break him up, all he's going to be able to do is disrupt the backline. Tesla Dome has been used now as Conte is going to be able to drop the Coliseum. This team fight like a pendulum is swinging either way as Wangle is just going to go out swinging. Conte able to pick up that kill. It's onto the backside. Penguin is just going to get melted below the damage of STS Butters. The fight now going to be migrating over towards mid. It's going to be Minkyu playing, begging for his life. A blink is going to come out, and if that subjugate landed in the blink of an eye, Brother would be gone, but Neft leaves nothing left. Tell me if you've heard this before. It's going to be the carry, putting the team on its back, and now putting him in a prominent position for the Fang Tooth.
Man, but Minkyu is still pretty low here. He does take a hat. Neff putting out some damage, doesn't get a kill. Just not quite yet. But it's going to be the advantage over the Team Immune, like you said. They're able to pick up some kills earlier on. Wangle going down, unfortunately. But hold on, wait a second. It looks like Van wants to make a play. 2k HP. Can he make that steal? No, he can't. It's going to be Team Immune taking that second Fang Tooth and winning that engagement.
Yeah, man, and they're able to just incrementally just get more advantages, and it's compounding throughout this game, right? We're seeing them being slightly higher in level, at least briefly there, before not only being able to knock Wangle completely out of the fight, despite him not being especially squishy at this part of the game, but after he falls, slowly, this team fight just starts to fall apart, which ultimately results in Team Immune just picking up a few kills and another objective that is going to line their pockets in gold.
Gold indeed. As we take a look at the scoreboard here, it's only going to be a 2k lead though onto the side of Team Immune. Not as big as we expected it. Rogue definitely trying to stay into this game. We're seeing some itemization built on, but really, I want to highlight that bulldozer. That's really where Wangle is going to be utilized, being able to be unstoppable with that augment while he's into that bulldozer mode. And if he's able to utilize that to get to the back line, but he's just missing the damage from his team to really close that gap and capitalize on it.
Most definitely, man. And speaking of the gold differential, it's also important for us to look at where it's coming from, though. It's going to be, I think, about a 600 gold difference between these carries here. That's basically a tier 2 item here for Neft. And Neft is the last person in this game you want to have any degree of advantage. Just now, Wangle is going to be forced to walk back until STS Butters, Hubs, and Corral's Conte going to be dissuaded from taking things any further as he's going to leave the invade.
Just pushing back that red side. Gonna be the advantage though inside the dual lane. That wave is pushing in. It's gonna bounce back though eventually, and somebody on the side of Team Rogue is gonna have to answer. But the wards though, look at the vision here. Both teams really want to prio, making sure they know what's going on over into that Orb Prime pit. But still, we're just gonna do a little bit of a dance here. We're still waiting for Team Rogue to find their opportunity. Meanwhile, Team Immune has been finding all the opportunity that they can get and been capitalizing on it through this game. They're gonna have to find a way here of really trying to stop them on side of Team Rogue.
Going to be Conte Minkyu looking to get a little bit active here, but this has been a strategy we've seen deployed multiple times from Rogue. Look at the other team do something. Hit the walk back key. We're going to just hit S and watch them from a distance until we're ready to take on the engage here. 3 to 6, 22 minutes in. It looks like Team Immune is getting a little feisty.
A little bit feisty, just trying to poke and prod, you know, trying to find any type of room, any type of trying to advantage to get it. Going to be that mid lane where they're trying to look for that fight, and here it is.
Thank you. It's going to be an engage coming off the back end as Kante is going to be able to find the collars. He'll be able to pull back from Penguin. Is going to be able to find Wangle. He's going to fall, but it's not quite over as it is going to be a self-proclaimed knockup coming out of the Argus. Little man has to deal with some big problems, so he's going to make his way out as Harwell and Fox and Finn are going to be playing towards the mid. STS Butters is going to put Kante in a little bit of a pincer, getting behind Morose so he can deal with his own homework. It's going to be a lot of problems getting presented from several angles as it's going to be a recoup of Rogue closer to that T1, T2 tower.
Oh man, nobody could really find anything there but Team Immune. Once again, Wangle gets caught out, but they're not able to trade into that. They're able to poke out some damage though, so the fear of the Ore Prime being taken is at least thwarted. But it's still that time and time again, you're losing one member, and then eventually you're just going to be losing more and more as the game keeps going on. They're going to be able to get more damage output there. They're going to have to be careful, but we're going to take a little slight setback. Take a look at the overall game state of this map. The waves being pushed up by Team Immune. The only thing they have to worry about is that mid lane. Meanwhile, on Team Rogue, they're going to have to answer both sides here. That might be able to create an opening for Team Immune to go after this big Ore Prime.
Yeah, man, most definitely. However, with the way that they've been playing, I would like to see it. Do not get me wrong, but I just doubt that we will. They're playing it a little bit more meticulously, cautiously, knowing that if they are able to get one more game off of this squad in Rogue, that they're going to be able to progress carefree and get one step closer to that sweet cash prize coming out of the PCC and Omega. So I'm expecting them to play for a pick, and then only when it's basically secure, get Neft in that pit and secure another objective, as Vin is going to be looking to make the rotation. He's going to be able to find it, and an Earthshatter is going to be utilized as it does bring them close, but not close enough. Coliseum coming off the back end is going to be enough to burst Vin down to that near-death threshold, and Neft is more than happy to finish the job. Atomizer is going to be utilized here as Haro on the back end is going to be forced to use the blink, but in the blink of an eye, it's going to be a re-engage. Comte able to lock down the kill. Now Wangle is going to have to do some superior wangling on him in order to get out of this. Fox is going to trade maybe his life for theirs. That's on to the backside. It's going to be another blink that gets utilized in order to buy space from the aggression, from the onslaught of Team Immune.
Oh my goodness, just what an all-out engagement there coming out of Team Immune as they look at the offlane as well, but with the jungler out of the way and the AD carry for the side of Team Rogue, this Fangtooth is pretty much free as long as the Zara stays alive.
Engage here onto Penguin as he's going to be able to basically take Richter out of the fight. Epoch is going to be able to use, but dude, it's a proactive commercial. Brother got popped like a pimple. Fox is going to be the one who falls as Penguin is going to be able to hit the skewer onto Wangle. This is basically free damage, but somehow he is surviving. STS Butters is going to be able to come to the rescue, but it is going to be a huge colossal blow that resets the fight. Ultimately, Team Immune, though, still is going to be able to lock down the objective. STS Butters is going to be stuck between a rock and bullets as Neft is going to be able to pick up the kill onto Wangle, and STS Butters does ultimately pick up the kill onto Kante.
Man, so close there. Just not enough damage to burn it on down, but it does look like Rogue has some fight back. They're able to pick up Kante, the jungler, which stops momentum for the side of Team Immune. They're able to get the Primordial Blaze, their third Fangtooth of the match, but they're not going to be able to use that just quite yet to go after the big Ore Prime.
Yeah, but, you know, that's just another advantage, right? And this has been a game of just compounding growth. We're going to take a little bit here. We're going to roll you with it. We're going to take you a little bit here. We're going to grow with it, and then we're going to roll you with it. And we haven't seen Rogue really do anything yet to be able to stop at F6.
Just not quite yet. I mean, they're just able to find maybe like small opportunities, Ego, but they're not able to, like you said, fully capitalize on their advantages to that engagement. They're either a little bit too late or just not able to fight back into them. They're a little bit out of position, or they just get picked off just completely randomly. And Team Immune is just playing every aspect almost perfectly into their favor. Meanwhile, Team Rogue, with that big Ore Prime being taken by Team Immune, is looking like they're on the real big back foot here. They're gonna have to fight into a double buff. The only advantage right now is they're able to push up that mid lane and that dual lane to at least buy time. As long as they're able to burn the time away from that Primordial Blaze, maybe they have an opportunity to at least kind of pressure back Team Immune from being able to take down all the inhibitors and then eventually go to that core.
Listen, man, I'm a Wangle enjoyer, and I don't want to sound like a rogue doomer, but Primordial Blaze, that's good at taking lives. The Prime, that's going to take objectives. Right now, it's TI, Team Immune, who looks like they're just ready to take the game over. If they start grouping, I'm not sure I see a way that Rogue can respond, at least while these buffs are on. As you said, they just need to play for time at this point. You're going to lose some tier 1s for sure. You're going to lose most of your tier 2s more than likely if that's what TI wants. You just have to hope these buffs run out and whatever comes next goes in your favor.
You're gonna have to praise, you know, you're gonna have to try and hope for any type of glimmer of light if you're Team Rogue. They're taking this base defense pretty well. Ven's able to push up the dual lane. Huge advantage for them. The only contention right now is the middle lane. So as long as they funnel their damage to be able to clear these waves, they're going to be able to buy time to at least trying to come out with a stalwart defense.
That boy Wangle is brave, man. Stepped into 4 people and lost half his HP bar for it. It is going to be a corralling of the squad and Team Immune around that middle in hit, but it looks like they have their eyes somewhere else as Morose is going to be able to get a split push to threaten this tier 2 tower.
They're pressuring the tier 2, but man, look at Ben right now. He's able to stop the mid lane push. The only advantage now they have is that right lane. So even though they're down a member, they're still being able to create this defense. They have the wave clear they need between this Argus and the Skylar. As long as that steel wall is up, they're creating some engagement, but it looks like they want to take the fight.
The steel wall is going to be up, and how long is steel going to be up? It's going to be Penguin who's absorbing the brunt of the damage, and now into the back end, it's going to be Conte able to get a Coliseum, followed up, though, by the shield slam. Has a lot of HP. It's going to be lost, a lot of damage. It's going to be thrown around. Wangle going to have to suffer to the Highland Hurlers. He's going to be rooted, and I'm not talking about staying still. That boy got planted in the ground 6 feet deep. It's going to be a double kill coming out of Neff, as there is literally going to be nothing left of this team but Haru. He's going to have to stand at the gates, but he's going to have to stand and watch as it's going to be Team Immune who take this in 2.
Oh my goodness, Ego Team Immune showing lights out once again, being able to pick up game number 2. I mean, Rogue, they played definitely a better game number 2 going into this game, but man, it was just not quite enough. The way Team Immune plays with their tempo, that is how they're able to conquer this best of 3 series.
I mean, this is just a display, a clinic of how to let the game come to you, right? They got a couple picks, let the board develop. Got a couple more picks, and just let an objective roll into them, even if Rogue initially had the correct positioning. A great display of high-end EU play here today in the PCC. I'm excited to see what comes next, but not as excited as I am to see Tangan, TJ, and Lance all back at the desk.
A thank you very much, Ego and F6, for another fantastic commentary performance out of you guys. We have Team Immune moving on to winner's bracket round 4. Team Wangle and Rogue are going to be relegated down to that loser side where we may potentially see them tomorrow. But our first best of 3 is in the books. TJ, what are your takeaways?
I think the takeaway here is, right at the start, I was kind of harping on about how slow pace this game was. It took time for people to actually seemingly load into the game, right? But the thing is, though, that we were talking about behind the scenes is that there was no onus on Team Immune to play aggressively. There was no reason for them to overcomplicate things, be over-aggressive. They were very confident in their game plan. They just had to execute it. I think they were confident that they could beat out Rogue individually and also in team fights. So just go through the motions, and I think we all saw here how that looked like. It was a very constricting victory by Team Immune, but they're the ones who took the course, and that's what matters here.
I think if you are not familiar with Team Immune, you're probably kind of surprised, right? Rogue is a household name. Team Immune hasn't been around the block lately, but they're actually one of the longest standing organizations in Pred that we have. Just very dominant in EU, does not make the way over the pond these days, but have won PCCs before. They've made semifinals now once more, beating Rogue in the quarters. Yeah, and honestly, like as TJ was saying, right? Like they're playing very differently to most other NA teams. They're very confident in the late game. They don't want to flip the game in the early game. They just want to make sure to play an organized game, play it steady, because there is the inherent sort of motivation there that if the game goes long, they're always going to be the better players to win the game.
And when you've got the 8-time Feng Booth champion Neft on your side, it is hard not to have that confidence in that late game, even on the ping. It doesn't really seem to matter. That is going to wrap up our predecessor action for day one of PCC NA Summer Prelims. But I just want to ask before we get out of here, what are we looking forward to tomorrow, TJ?
Well, honestly, with the lower bracket, that's where things get interesting. Playing with a double elim, everyone knows that everybody gets one, right? You lose your core, tournament's not over. But tomorrow, last chance saloon. Your core's destroyed, you're out of here. Elimination is at stake here. In our upper bracket, a lot of our air quotes like high-end teams now facing off against each other, they're going to start dropping down as well. So teams making their way through the lower bracket, having to run that entire gauntlet, they'll be meeting up against some fierce competition. It's going to be awesome, man.
It's gonna be fantastic, especially looking at the teams, right? Like Professors, we've seen them drop into the lower bracket beforehand. We might see them tomorrow as well fight for their survival. So does a Rogue. So there's gonna be some banger matches to watch. The lower bracket where everything sort of is on, right? That is gonna be the deciding sort of matches if you can make it into the main event or if you are just gonna be one of the teams eliminated. 34 teams starts the tournament, but not all of them make it, of course, to the final stage.
That is so true. And like we said, that does wrap up day one of PCC NA Summer Prelims. But we will be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for more Predecessor action. We will also be back next week with PCC EU Summer Prelims. I'll be there. I know you're going to be there because you are a Predecessor and you want to support Predecessor Esports. You want to support Ometa. You want to support PCC. We'd like to thank all of you guys from the absolute bottom of our hearts. I have been your host for the day, Slicker Then and Ice Scorn Talons, Lance Cecil. That's going to wrap up day one. We'll see you tomorrow.
There is no limit to my strength.